the evidence today is the question of the handover of the 121 dockets to the head office and the return of the dockets to the PKTT. There'll be two witnesses testifying today. The first witness is Major General Motsepe, and she is available and ready to proceed, and she will be led by Advocate 𝐬𝐻𝐾𝐭.
Good morning, Ms. Bowe.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chair, the witness is ready to be sworn in. She will be taking the oath.
Good morning, General Motsepe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Please place your full names on record.
I'm Mary Motsepe.
Please speak up a bit if you can, General, and maybe use both mics.
Okay, no,
and
thanks.
Pull both closer to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. My name is Mary Motsepe.
Do you swear that the evidence you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, General.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. General, in front of you there should be two files. The first file labeled statements and annexures. The second file labeled 121 dockets. And General, if you move to the first tab of the file that has statements, the first statement is your statement, and it ends at paragraph 20. Can you see that? At page 20.
Yes, I can see that. Thanks.
And at page 20, you have signed the statement. Can you confirm that that is indeed your signature?
Yes, Commissioner. That's correct. That's my signature.
Commissioners, I was informed that all the commissioners, but for Commissioner Khumalo's files, were updated with the signed statement. Is that so?
It does not matter. You can simply replace the last page at any convenient time.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And General, that you confirm that this is the statement you have prepared for purposes of giving your testimony before the Commission.
Yes, Commissioners. That's the statement.
Thank you, General. General, if you could start by describing the position you currently hold within the SAPS and your reporting lines.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. I'm a female police officer in the South African Police. Until September 1993, I moved through the ranks in the detective service as a general crime investigator, then as a sergeant, inspector, captain, lieutenant colonel, and a colonel. On 1st of May 2012, I was appointed as a section head at National Detective Service with a rank of a brigadier, where I was responsible for inspections, interventions, docket investigations at provincial, station level, and the performance monitoring thereof. In August 2016, I was appointed Gauteng Provincial Deputy Commissioner for Crime Detection as a Major General. Until 31st December 2018, I was later transferred to my current role as a National Detective Service as a component head of serious and violent crime. I'm holding a diploma in police administration, BTech policing. I'm also in possession of relevant detective courses and leadership courses.
Thank you, General. You've set out in some detail your roles and responsibilities. Can you give us a summary of that, your current roles and responsibilities and the units that you oversee?
Okay, Commissioners, my role and responsibility within this division, Detective and Forensic Services, as the National Component Head for Serious and Violent Crime Investigations, I'm responsible for the effective and efficient investigation of serious and violent crimes. I'm responsible nationally for investigation, monitoring, and evaluation of the performance of the following units: murder and robbery, national investigation unit, stock theft and endangered species, taxi violence, and also the monitoring of the tracking teams in all provinces. According to the mandate of the serious and violent crime investigations, political killings fall within murder and robbery unit, which is within my component. In fact, there are dockets that were given to political task team that were originally dockets within my components. There are also officers and members from my component who were deployed by the PKTT to join as investigators, but most of them returned to the national and provincial office.
Thank you, General. We'll then move into your involvement in handling the 121 dockets. You say that you first found out about the dockets coming to head office in early March 2025. Can you tell the Commission how you found out and what would be your involvement?
Okay, Commissioners, I think it was sometime in March. Myself and General Sintumoli, we were from General 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿's office. It was an informal meeting. When we were about to go out in the entrance, it's an entrance sort of is a security entrance. That's when General Sintumoli asked me if we're diverted the PKTT is disbanded. Then I said, I'm not aware. Then he said, all those dockets, they are coming to you. Then I said, it's fine because political killing falls within my mandate. And then she said that they are still busy with the discussion thereof. I will be informed later.
And when were you officially then informed of the dockets coming to your office?
I was never informed officially. After we have this engagement, myself and General Sintumoli, I received a call on the 27th of March. It was about 18:45 when I received a call, and General Sintumoli alluded that he's from a meeting. Then she said, General, where are you? By that time, I was not in the office. Then she said, can you please accompany me to the Office of Crime Intelligence, where General Khumalo is a divisional commissioner, to collect the docket of the PKTT. Then I didn't answer the question because she already in March sensitized, some 2-3 weeks back, she sensitized me about this collection. Then I said, I'm not in the office, but I will arrange with Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿 to accompany her to collect those dockets from General Khumalo's office.
And even in this engagement, did she inform you of what exactly your involvement with these dockets would be?
No, she never mentioned. She just wanted me to go and accompany her to collect the dockets. She never elaborated further.
Thank you, General. And then on the 28th, the following day, the dockets were then collected. Can you tell the Commission about this?
Yes, on the 20th, after arranging, let me go back a little bit, Commissioners. The manner in which she called me on the 27th, actually we were supposed to go on the 27th. Then I learned later that herself, Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿, Colonel Mguli, Colonel Ramoroka, and Lieutenant Colonel Masoho, but he's presently on retirement. Actually, they went on the 28th, not on the 27th. So immediately when I spoke with her, so that she can arrange with Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿, I called Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿. Then he said that General Sintumoli already called him and they've made some arrangement. Then on the 28th, they went to CI and then they collected the dockets where Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿, they've made some audit when they were there, and they were informed that this docket, they're en route to 𝐾ZN. And then Brigadier 𝐬𝐲𝐫𝐿 and the other colonels, they came with the dockets and they put them in a strong room at our national office. The strong room is on the second floor where Brigadier 𝐼 Tata is residing. Actually, Brigadier 𝐼 Tata is a section head of the stock theft and endangered species, which fall under my direct command.
You say, General, that you had no problem with the dockets or you being associated with or the dockets coming to you because they fell under, let me loosely say, your mandate.
Yes, Commissioners, what I'm trying to say, when General sensitized me about the docket that
Yes.
the PKTT is going to be disbanded without giving me some reasons, I didn't have a problem because I know political killings falls under my mandate, especially the section of murder and robbery. And my members, when the PKTT started 2018, they were deployed at the PKTT. I know the works of the political tax team there because I think during 2019, I also went to visit where Major General, the now Divisional Commissioner Khumalo, was in charge of the tax team.
Yes, so I understand the point about the dockets falling under your mandate, but what I would like to get clarification on is why the dockets had to come to head office. Did you ever get to understand that?
No. From the onset, I didn't know why they were coming to you. I will elaborate when we go through the reasons why they were brought here. But from the Commissioners, what I'm trying to say, from the onset, there were no proper explanation to me why the dockets were taken here.
All right.
Now I'm saying through my testimony, Commissioners will understand much better why they were brought here.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, General. And you say that even at this point, on the 26th, after the General Brigadier 𝐼 Tata confirmed that the dockets were now in the strong room, there was still not a clear indication of what would be done with the dockets.
Yes, until such time myself, then I called, because Brigadier 𝐼 Tata already informed me that whilst they were there at the crime intelligence offices, General 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 told them the dockets will go to back to 𝐾ZN. Then I think the first week of April, it was on Friday, the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, I called General 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 just to find out, General, what now is going to happen with this docket because nobody is saying anything to us. Then she said that actually this docket, they are supposed to go back to 𝐾ZN, to the PKTT. Then I asked the question, why now, what is the reason of the docket being here? Then they must go back to 𝐾ZN, back and forth, because I see it doesn't make sense. Then she said that she still have to make some arrangement to call General Mkhwanazi about us to take the docket back to 𝐾ZN.
To your knowledge, when exactly had the dockets arrived at head office? I'm asking that because you are basically saying as early as March, there was already talk that the dockets should go back to 𝐾ZN. When had they arrived at head office?
The docket arrived on the 28th of March.
And talk for them to go back was when?
Okay, Commissioner, the docket, when they collected the docket on the 28th, already they discussed it there, Brigadier 𝐼 Tata, General 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 and the other officers, that actually this docket, they are only here for auditing, because they audited them whilst they like the counting. They counted from 1 and then the number was 118. And then actually they were here for auditing, so that General 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 as a divisional commissioner, she's going to hand them back to 𝐾ZN. So actually the docket came to our office on the 28th of March.
So meaning even as they arrived, the idea was for them immediately to go back as soon as the auditing process had been finalized.
Yes, but General 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 was supposed to make arrangement first with General Mkhwanazi. That's when myself now, I called the General. I had Brigadier 𝐼.
No, I just wanted to understand the purpose for them coming to head office.
Yes.
So they are coming up purely to be audited, meaning that as soon as that auditing process had been finalized, they would go back.
Yes.
So that's your understanding.
Yes, Commissioner.
Why could the auditing process not take place in 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐿? Why did the dockets have to come up to head office for that simple process?
Commissioners, really, I don't know. Maybe General Sentumule, when she comes to testify, if she will come to testify, maybe she will explain the whole process. But that's what I heard from Brigadier 𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵, because I was never part of the previous meetings which led to the disbandment. So maybe she can explain that, why they were brought here, audited, and again back to 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐿.
Thank you. I have never understood that it was General Sentumule's instruction that the dockets should come to head office. Was it not a higher-up instruction that they should come to head office?
I think, Commissioner, when I go through the testimony, that's when I said Commissioner will understand how did those documents come to
You see, I'm raising these questions because they relate to this fundamental question of why they had to come up in the first place.
Yes.
Now, you have said General Sentumule is the one who would have to explain why the dockets had to come to head office for the simple auditing process. So that's why I'm now referring to perhaps the person who would have to explain is the person from whom the instruction came originally. So it's in that context that I raise this. But if, as you say, you are going to say more on this later in your testimony, I will leave it at that.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
I will leave it there at this stage.
Thank you, Chair. General, and you say that the auditing process was done within the day. Is that your testimony?
Yes, they've done the auditing at the Office of Crime Intelligence. Before they brought the docket here, the auditing was done there at Crime Intelligence. And they even, there was a handing over certificate and some minutes which were written down, where General Sentumule and General Khumalo signed both. And then in attendance were Brigadier 𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵 together with other members from Crime Intelligence. I don't know, is it PKTT? But I know Brigadier 𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵, his name is also appear in the attendance register where General Khumalo and General Sentumule have signed over the handing over of dockets.
Thank you, General. Commissioners, for ease of reference, there is a statement in tab 3 of the files. The statement is by Colonel Mzuli. Colonel Mzuli was present for the auditing, and so he is not going to be called, but he has provided a statement. And in that statement, at Annexure IM1, is the attendance register of the persons who were there for the auditing process. And at IM2 is the audit process itself. And you will see at page 6 of that document are all of the signatories that were there for the audit. We wish to hand up or mark the statement as an exhibit. We are at exhibit 33. General,
Ms. Bowe, we are saying there's rarely ever reference to the exhibits running on the side. we think it's best to just clearly identify the document according to how it's marked in these bundles, and forget about the exhibit numbers on the side. I've forgotten when last we referred to those. It's been I think it was when Ms. Hasim was leading. I forget which witness, but that was quite a while back. We won't get lost, I don't think, as long as we just clearly identify what document it is for purposes of the record and for purposes of us going back to it when we want to. Would that be fine?
Yes, that's fine, Chair. We have a running list, and so we will mark it.
I'm sorry.
Exhibit 33, witness statement and annexures of 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. Would that suffice?
Okay. All right. I just wanted to avoid the reference to
we can
But
subtract.
no, let's keep it. Fine, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. General, the audit process has been done, and you've now had a conversation with General Sentimole, who has informed you that they need to make arrangements for the dockets to be transported to 𝐾ZN. Did she indicate when this would happen?
Yes, Commissioner, she did indicate. She even said that actually, General, let's plan maybe to hand over those dockets the following week. So the following week will be the week of the 9th or 10th. That's when she said that she's planning, but she will come back to us to give us the proper date when we can plan to go to 𝐾ZN.
Thank you, General. And you then go on leave. By the time you go on leave on the 11th of April, still no arrangements to take the dockets back to 𝐾ZN had been made?
Yes, there was no arrangement. But when I came back from leave during the first week of May, that's when I inquired from Brigadier Kgopo where actually what transpired whilst I was on leave. Then they explained to me that there was an arrangement which were made, and then itinerary were completed. I think it was done on the 24th of April, and they were planning to take the dockets to 𝐾ZN in my absence here. Commissioners, if maybe you allow me just to go a little bit before one of the preparation to go to 𝐾ZN. Brigadier Kgopo informed to me when they were doing the audit, conducting audit, actually there were a plan put in place about the phases which is going to take place about this docket. And then the first phase of docket to be handed over, those are the one which they were doing the audit. Actually, there were 3 phases which is going to take place because of now the PKTT is going to be disbanded. So the first phase where this docket which they were auditing, the 118, they were docket which were still under investigation. And the second set of dockets would be what we refer to as decision dockets. Normally, there are some cases where we don't just arrest, you complete the investigation. After that, you send docket for decision for the prosecutor, senior prosecutor to give further guidance. That was the docket which will be the second phase. Those dockets, they are not yet handed over. It was just phases. The third phase will be docket from court, whether finalized or docket which are still on trial. That will be the third phase. But the phase which we are dealing now is 118 dockets which were still under investigation.
General, can I just, before you move to the return of the dockets, what is the purpose of an audit? When you audit the dockets, why are you doing that? What are you looking for? And what are you hoping to get out of the process?
Okay, thanks, Commissioners. When we do conduct docket auditing, usually we want to check whether the docket For example, in the printout or checklist, the docket will be 118 with a specific case number, station, and the charge. So when you audit docket, you just want to check whether the very same charge appears on the list, which is on the printout, which you get from the case administration system. You check whether the complainant is the same, and then you have to do it through the right way of doing docket audit. You must audit with the system in front of you to check whether the charges relate with the charges which are captured in the system. That's the docket audit. But some other way of doing, the way they've done it, actually is an informal. They were just checking docket from 1 to 118, whether they are still the same as the one which are in the checklist or on the printout. But the right way of auditing, you must even audit the charges, the right case numbers, formulation of charges. That's how you do the docket audit. And docket audit, sometimes you couple it with docket inspections. If you do audit, you also do the docket inspection. But auditing is just to get the gist of the docket, whether there is correspond with the system where they are captured.
And then once you have done all of that, what do you do with the results? So you've completed the audit, you have confirmed that what is captured in the docket is consistent with what is in the documents inside, you have your results, then what do you do with those results?
With those results, the person who gave instruction to conduct the audit, you must give a certificate to the person, present to her or to him that the audit have been conducted. Actually, we want to, because sometimes you find that the printout will say 118 dockets, only to find that if the investigator or whoever is presenting is 110, maybe 110, 8 is missing, then they have to account where are these 8 dockets. Some of them, they will find that they are in court. Some of them, maybe they are also sent for decision. Or some of them, maybe they are lost somewhere. Then they have to find out for where are those dockets. But we make sure that dockets are all accounted. If your dockets are 118, they must be like that. And sometimes inside those dockets, you will find that there are other dockets, the main docket, there's another docket inside. But it's independent because that docket will have its own case number. So you have to audit everything. Whether the docket comprises of 3 dockets inside, you have to audit all of them and give the picture. Because maybe the printout which you are having will say 118. But inside, when you check, actually it's no longer 118, it's 120. And then you find that the very same docket maybe is from another station, but it was not transferred to the station where the docket are investigated. It can be some of the reasons why you find that the audit doesn't balance.
So the audit has nothing to do with the performance review of the individual detectives who are working on the dockets. You're not reviewing performance of the individuals.
That is why Commissioner said that you can do it simultaneously. You can do docket audit and also do the performance. That's why now you do a proper inspection. You audited, you are satisfied, I've got 118. Now you say, let me look into the performance of this docket. You have to go one by one of those dockets, then you will do your notes, after then you will write the performance, sort of review of what transpired in those dockets.
Thank you.
General, if these dockets were meant to be returned to KZN, and you're telling us as early as the 28th of March or the end of March, there seems to have been already a consideration and decision that they would go back to KZN, what would have been the point of National conducting an audit on dockets that are going to be returning where they come from? What would be the purpose?
Commissioners, and that is why I said earlier, maybe the General Sintumule will explain. But maybe the main purpose from my experience is maybe when the docket, the PKTT brought 118, which was signed for. Then General Sintumule responsibility now must to confirm 118 from PKTT and whatever she is conducting now the audit. But the main reason of why dockets were sent to our national office, I will elaborate when I go further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. General, you then explained that after Brigadier Kgopodithata told you about the plan, which was to move them during that week of the 23rd of April, by the time you return on the 30th of April, the dockets were still not moved.
Yes, Commissioners, the docket was still not moved, and I just want to articulate further that my role in the handing over of the dockets, I was not involved during the handing over of the docket from crime intelligence to our office. But when I come back from national, it's a concern for me because this docket now they're still put in the safe. Then that's when now again I'm asking General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿, General, this docket have been long now. It's almost a month. Actually, what is going to happen with this docket? Then General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 said that, hey General, you know what, let me phone General Mkhwanazi. Then she phoned General Mkhwanazi. It's now May month. After some time, maybe 2 to 4 days, I called her just to find out what the General Mkhwanazi is saying. It's me who's persisting about this docket because it's a concern for me. Then she called General Mkhwanazi. Then General Mkhwanazi said that she told me back now when I called her again just to find out what did General Mkhwanazi said. Then she said that General Mkhwanazi said that he's got nothing to do with those dockets. I even said, just like that, as a provincial commissioner, actually those docket belongs to him. He's the main custodian of the docket as a provincial commissioner. Then she said, hey, I don't know what am I going to do. Then I said, we must do something. Then she said, let me call the national commissioner. She called the national commissioner. After some days again, I called her just to find out what did the national commissioner response. Then she said that the national commissioner said that General 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿 must ensure, or General 𝐟𝐵𝐵, it is his environment, he can use his own discretion about those dockets. Then on the 20th,
before you move to the 20th, the time between when you first called General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 to find out about movements of the dockets to KZN, and eventually when you follow up with her again, that was 2 weeks. So again, in those 2 weeks, nothing was happening with the dockets.
Nothing was happening with those dockets, Commissioners.
And when she informed you of General Mkhwanazi's refusal, did you ask or probe about why he refused the dockets?
Yes, I did probe, Commissioners, but I couldn't get the exact answer. That's when I asked, now what are we going to do with this docket? Then she said she will call the national commissioner. Then after some few days again, I called her. She said that the national commissioner said General 𝐟𝐵𝐵𝐿 must use his own discretion with those dockets.
And so by the 19th of May, all that had happened with the dockets would have been that one-day audit that was done on the 28th of March.
Pardon me, sorry, Commissioner.
That by the 19th of May, the only thing that was done to the dockets would have been that audit process.
Yes, the only thing which was done was the audit process. Nothing was done. The docket was still in the strong room.
Okay, and then you say that on the 19th of May, you are then called to a meeting with Generals 𝐟𝐵𝐵𝐿 and 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿. Can you tell the Commission about this meeting?
Commissioners, on the 19th of May, I was called by General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿. Then we went to General 𝐟𝐵𝐵𝐿's office because myself, General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 and 𝐟𝐵𝐵𝐿, we are not sitting in the same office. General Sintumole is sitting here in Arcadia. Myself and General Sibia, we are at the main head office building. Me, I'm on the side of, on the sixth floor. General Sibia is on the other side of the 7th floor. When I arrived there, I found General Sibia and General Sintumole. Then General Sibia said that maybe I've already heard that General Mokwanase refuses the docket, and the National Commissioner now says he must use his own discretion in those dockets. Then General Sibia said that because of the political killing falls under your mandate, under your component, now the ball is in your court. You must see to it what you do with those dockets, assemble officers so that you can proceed investigating those dockets. Then immediately there I said, it's fine, General, no problem, we'll proceed. Then I phoned Brigadier Khopoditata just to assemble officers. And then I even mentioned, can you get Colonel Mdluli and Colonel Mashile? And then they must identify some other officers. Actually, I said, if they can be maybe plus minus 10, 8 to 10 officers. Then immediately I left General Sintumole and General CB. I went to Brigadier Khopoditata's boardroom on the 2nd floor. Me, I'm sitting on the 6th floor. Then when I arrived there, I just gave them the background because other officers were not part of collecting docket from crime intelligence. So I have to give them the background of how did this docket come here, the collection part of it. They've been in the safe. I've been called. Now I think we must do something. It's been long for this docket to be here.
General, you have told us that the dockets came up to head office for a very simple process, which was to audit them. Let's leave aside the fact that it does not make sense why they would have had to come to head office for that simple exercise. Now, all of a sudden, they are to be investigated. Do you know what informed the change that is now they must be investigated? What informed that?
Commissioners, when I was called to General CBS office together with General Sintumole, the explanation was because of General Mkwanas said it's got nothing to do with those dockets. And now the National Commissioner is alluding that General CBM has his own discretion. So the very same discretion is now that I must now proceed to ensure that now we proceed with the investigation. I think maybe what informed the change of no longer auditing to investigation is because of General Mokwanase refused the docket, which according to my understanding, when they go back to PKTT, they will be investigated. And now the National Commissioner says, use our own discretion. It means now at national, because my component is the one which have an investigating capacity and capabilities. It's me now who must proceed to ensure that investigations unfold from those dockets.
I'm just trying to place myself in General Mkwanase's seat. The dockets are taken for a purpose that does not make sense, purportedly to conduct this simple process, which is to audit them. And it just doesn't make sense that they should have come to Gauteng for that purpose. In that sense, perhaps one can, and I'm going to invite your comment on this, one can understand why General Mkwanase would have reacted the way that he did. If you wanted the dockets purely to audit them, why take them to Gauteng?
It's true, Commissioner. I also put myself in the shoes of General Mkwanase. You can't just take docket and you say it's simply audit. then later proceed with investigations.
Because you could have audited them in 𝐾ZN. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking
No.
about those who wanted purportedly. I'm not even saying that I'm accepting that the real purpose for taking them was to audit them. Could have been done in 𝐾ZN. Simple exercise as you've explained it.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, Ms. Pori.
Thank you, Chair. General, in paragraph 19, you say that in the meeting you were asked to assemble a team. What did you understand that to mean? Was it to assemble a team within the national office in the same vein as the task team, or what does that mean?
No, it was not on the same vein as the tax team commissioners, because immediately when General Sibia said that assemble a team, then I said, General, let us not be seen as if now we are doing a team because of, according to yourself and General Sintumoni, the PKTT is disbanded. Now we are forming another team. I will get the officers from the section. Yes, it can be, we can say a team, but it's not a team. It's not a tax team. Actually, it's not a tax team per se. It's just members from different sections, because I was taking members from stock theft, National Investigation Unit, together with the Medan robbery, just to go and, because they're detective, we are all trained, we can also conduct investigation, irrespective of a task team.
General, what did you mean by that, and why did you think it was necessary to say you should not be seen to be creating a team to replace the PKTT?
Commissioners, why I emphasize of let it not be seen as a team, because the PKTT is a team, which was a tax team, is disbanded. But now we come up with another team. But in a layman's world or way, we can say it's a team. Just to take 2, 3, 4, they become 10 officers. Me, I was preferring to be an investigating team, just to proceed with the investigation. That's how I made it to be understood in that way. Let us not be seen as making another team, because the PKTT is disbanded. I will take members from the different sections. Then it will be a team which will be, but not a team with all those responsibilities of how the PKTT were conducting their investigation in 𝐾ZN. It's not a tax team. I didn't want us to name it a tax team. It's not a team. It's an investigating team who's going to conduct investigations, not a tax team.
Thank you.
General, is it fair to say that you had accepted, you were told that the task team, the PKTT, had been disbanded? That was your understanding, right?
Yes, that was my understanding.
Is it fair to say that there was no documented plan, a written plan, that was going to deal with the after? What happens after the PKTT is disbanded? Who's going to investigate these 𝐾ZN political killings? What is going to happen to the dockets? Who's going to be the custodian? Who's going to account to the families in 𝐾ZN who lost their loved ones? Who's going to account to the courts and the prosecutors in 𝐾ZN about the cases they were involved with and the dockets they were involved with? Because I struggle to understand the idea that a detective who deals with stock theft in Johannesburg can be given a docket that deals with a political murder that took place in 2016 in 𝐾ZN, and that person sitting in Johannesburg can then investigate that murder and get to the conclusion of the investigation, whatever that is. I just struggle with that, and I'm hoping, and I know it's not your fault, this was dropped in your lap, but I'm struggling to understand how that was going to work. Can you just enlighten us, please?
Okay, thanks, Commissioners. Commissioners, after the meeting with, maybe I must proceed with now to to what the Commissioner is asking now. After that engagement with General Sintumule and CB, then I went to Brigadier 𝐃𝐨𝐽𝐵. I've already informed him to get those officers. Then I went to them. I explained what transpired actually, the background, how did this docket came to head office. Then I instructed Brigadier 𝐃𝐶𝐵𝐽𝐵 to take all those dockets from the strong room. I saw them, they were there in the crate. Then I said, colleagues, because now the ball is in our hand, as detective, let's start first with the inspection. Let's take this docket so that we can familiarize ourselves. To answer that question, Commissioner, which you said that stock theft from Johannesburg to go to KZN. Before you embark, you familiarize yourself with the dockets. But within that composition of the officers, mostly were from National Investigation Unit and the Madden robbery. The stock theft were only for the collection, because I know their strength, I know their expertise. So stock theft in head office, they don't investigate. But Madden robbery and National Investigation Unit and taxi violence, we do have dockets, we do investigate. And we also investigate dockets from KZN. It doesn't need that you must be in KZN, then you can investigate. We investigate all over the country. We get dockets from National, I go to Western Cape, all the provinces. You are a detective, you have to swim through. So those dockets, when we went through the inspections, we already saw the hanging fruits, the low-hanging fruits, where we can start with the inspection. So we have conducted the inspections, then we saw where we can start.
And it's my fault that I said too many things. What I started with was, is it fair to say that there was no documented plan about what was going to happen with the dockets?
At our disposal, there was no plan. I was never given a plan. The ball was in my hand. I have to devise a plan, and I devised a plan.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks, Commissioner Khumalo. General, in paragraph 20, before we go into the inspection, at paragraph 20, you talk about the reasons that General Sibia gave you for the disbandment. Can you talk to the commissioners about that interaction with General Sibia?
Okay, commissioners, I just want to mention that after I've engaged with Brigadier 𝐃𝐶𝐵𝐽𝐵, then I think after a day, I went to General, because now the docket is with me, they are no longer going to KZN. I just want to find the jigs of why this docket were taken to us. I have to ensure that now investigation unfolds. If Commissioner maybe allow me so that I can read this paragraph verbatim. Okay, paragraph 20, or let me start with paragraph 19. Okay, no, commissioners, let me go straight to paragraph 20. I instructed my team to conduct an analysis of the dockets and to prepare a detailed report on their findings. This exercise commenced on the 19th May 2025 until 30th May 2025. I recall that when I was told that my team would be conducting the investigations, I asked General Sibia for the real reasons for the disbandment of the PKTT. He told me that according to the approved organizational structure, the PKT must cease to operate and fall under Madden robbery, which is a section under the Serious and Violent Crime Investigations, and of which I'm the component head. I'm aware of the study and the organizational structure. All that was required was for the Madden robbery unit to be properly capacitated, but the structure was already in place. General Sibia also said that there had to be a fair representation of the Madden robbery sections within the 9 provinces, not just in KZN, and that the budget allocation for the PKTT was a problem because it was disproportionately higher for the PKTT in KZN than any other unit dealing with the same type of crimes.
When General 𝐼𝐫𝐫𝐤 tells you about the organizational structure that is there, and that the PKTT must now cease to operate and fall under murder and robbery, you conclude in that paragraph by saying all that was required for the murder and robbery units to be properly capacitated, but the structure was already in place.
Yes.
Does that mean, in that last part, does that mean that as at the time that you get given the instruction to now proceed with investigating these dockets, the murder and robbery units in the new structure were not properly capacitated at that point?
Commissioners, the structure is there.
Yes.
But when you go to other provinces, you will find, especially Smolanyana provinces, you will find that the structure is not fully implemented because of capacity reasons. Let me take an example of Limpopo. In Limpopo, the structure is the same, but you'll find that the National Investigation Unit, which in the provinces we call them Provincial Investigation Unit, they are no longer functional like in the past when this structure was introduced. So the members who were working under the Provincial Investigation Unit are now falling under the murder and robbery. So actually the plan is the structure must be fully implemented. Like when you go to Limpopo, you'll find the structure as it is, like Provincial Investigation Unit, murder and robbery, taxi violence, stock theft, and also the tracking team under the serious and violent crime.
So is the short answer that as at the time of this reason given to you by General 𝐼𝐫𝐫𝐤, the murder and robbery units were not fully implemented
No,
yet?
the murder and robbery are fully. That is why from the onset, commissioners, if you can recall when General 𝐬𝐻𝐿 was saying the political killing are coming to you, then I said that it doesn't make there's no problem in that one because political killing falls under the mandate of serious and violent crime, murder and robbery.
Yes.
So the structure is there.
Yes, what I'm trying to understand is when you say it wasn't properly capacitated, those units were not properly capacitated, why is that relevant to the decision that you are now being asked to implement?
Maybe Commissioner don't understand your
Yes.
question.
So you say General 𝐼𝐫𝐫𝐤 said to you that he told you that the approved organizational structure, under that structure, the PKTT must cease to operate
Yes.
and fall under the murder and robbery
Yes.
units, right? Which
Yes,
were
Commissioner.
already there,
Yes.
right? But you further on in the last paragraph, in the last sentence, you say all that was required for the murder and robbery units to be properly capacitated. So let's stop there. Let's stop there without reading the rest of the sentence. What I would like to do to understand is what does it mean when you say all that was required now, all that was left was for those units to be properly capacitated, and how, the second part of my question is how that would affect this decision that you are now being asked to implement, if at all.
Actually, Commissioner, the way I understood General 𝐼𝐫𝐫𝐤, the reason of disbanding the PKTT, actually the PKTT must be capacitated into the murder and robbery of 𝐾ZN, where the structure is already in place, even though in some provinces it's not fully capacitated because of issues of resources, human resources. But in 𝐾ZN, there's a murder and robbery under serious and violent crime at the province. So now when you disband this PKTT, some of the members of PKTT actually, they are not all from 𝐾ZN, they are from other provinces. So when they go back to, if it is disbanded, members go back to their station or unit of origin, because some of them, they are not actually from the specialized unit murder and robbery. They were taken from the stations.
Yes.
And then now they are at the PKTT. So when this PKTT is going to be disbanded, some of the members will go back to Madden Robbery of, if they are members from KZN, they will go to the Madden Robbery of KZN, and the others will go to their respective.
So was it your understanding that the members of the PKTT, the now disbanded PKTT, when they go back to their stations, all of them were now going to slot into murder and robbery unit? Was that the plan?
Yes, it was the plan that when they go back to their station of origin, it depends from state. Already they've been exposed to the investigating these murder cases for the past 5-6 years. So when they go back to the station of origin, we can't lose that capacity. Actually, they must be slotted into the murder and robberies.
Is that what you were told would happen, or that's what you thought and expected should happen? Was there a written plan about it? People who are now going back to Limpopo, they were never part of the murder and robbery unit, that they would simply, from the PKTT, when they get back to their home station, there was a plan already that they would become part of the murder and robbery unit?
Sorry, Commissioner. For me, the way we were engaging with General Sibia, I didn't see the plan. The plan was discussed through the executive management, where Generals Sintumule, Sibia, and the others were in that meeting. The plan which I'm just alluding now is through the engagement when I'm asking why the PKTT must be disbanded. That is why I say I'm aware of this study, because I'm also the signatory to that study of this establishment of the murder and robberies and other sections. And the reasons for that study to be conducted for this organizational structure is because of we used to have a lot of tax teams which were consuming a lot of money. So when the study was conducted, was how it will be best if maybe the old murder and robberies, the old SAPS, narcotics, they can come back and then can be capacitated. Because of if you deal with only tax team to address a certain threat, sometimes you lose it, because most of the members of the tax teams, they are not developing. They don't go to courses, the promotions, because they are forever in the tax team. So if now they are in this specialized unit, we can plan for them so that they can also develop, they can also be trained. So it's one of the reasons why this study was conducted, so that it can be fair. When we say murder and robbery in KZN, there will be members within that section. And commissioners, it doesn't stop you as a commander or as a component head, if maybe you are faced with this emerging threat, to come up with a tax team, but it's not a unit. You just take members from the very same murder and robbery. They address a problem. Then after stabilization, then we see this, now the threat is no longer in that level. Then we proceed with the investigation.
Maybe finally, so there should be, I mean, it sounds like a big decision that people, members who are part of the PKTT, now that it is disbanded, they are going back to their home stations. And when they get whatever's going to happen at their home stations, it sounds like a big decision. They don't just decide, this is where I want to belong. Management makes that decision.
Yes.
So is it fair or reasonable that we should expect there would be a record of that decision and that plan, that when they return, now that the PKTT is disbanded, when these members return to their home stations, identified in a plan, this is what's going to happen to them? We should expect such a plan.
Yes, commissioners, there should be that plan.
Okay.
There should be that plan. So far, I can't allude to that plan.
Yes.
But there should be. We can't just disband people without a plan, go back to your station without maybe provisions for those members when they go back to the state. There should be a plan.
Thank you, General.
Thanks, Commissioner.
General, when General Sibia alludes to some of these aspects of the plan, including the return to stations of origin, did you ask him for the plan?
No, I didn't ask for the plan. I was just asking what was the reasons of disbanding of the PKTT.
Okay. And have you had regard to the minister's letter disbanding the PKTT?
No, I didn't see the minister's letter. I was just informed by General 𝐬𝐶𝐫𝐿 during our engagement that there was a letter from the minister, but I was never given a copy of the minister's letter. He did mention that there was a directive from the minister for the disbandment of this team.
And have you since seen the letter?
No, I didn't see. I've never seen the letter in General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 engagement, but later when we were engaging, I did see that letter, that directive actually.
And in that letter, the minister does set out the reasons for disbandment, which is the team is no longer required, nor is it adding value to policing in South Africa. That sounds different to what General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 described to you as the reasons.
Commissioners, I think that one of the minister can answer. I don't know what was behind his mind or what was he thinking when he said that PKTT no longer serve value to SAPS service, because of, even though they are disbanded, they are still police officials. They will serve purpose somewhere. They will definitely. I don't know what was the reason behind that. They will never serve any purpose, or they no longer serve any purpose. They will still serve because they are still carrying court dockets, those members. So they do serve. They do serve something in the communities and also in the police service.
Thank you, General. Do you agree with the proposition that the minister's reasons as articulated in the letter and those provided to you by General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 were different?
I can't hear, pardon me, please.
Do you agree with the proposition that the reasons articulated by the minister in his letter and the reasons that were given to you by General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 are different?
Yes, they are different because now General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 was expanding. Only in the letter of the minister is very minimal. I don't know, maybe when he was with them engaging, maybe he also gave these reasons which General 𝐶𝐵𝐿 now is articulating to me.
Thank you, General. And then on paragraph 22, you express your opinion on how the disbandment took place. Can you explain to the commissioners what your take is on the disbandment process?
Okay, thanks, commissioners. Can I be allowed also to read the paragraph? Commissioners, I also wish to mention that although I was not involved in the disbandment process, I agree with the view that the PKTT should not have been disbanded without proper consultation. I do not know if the minister has the authority to disband the PKTT. However, even if the minister had the authority to disband the PKTT, he had to first consult with all the relevant stakeholders, which would have included me as the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. I also do not agree that the PKTT should have been disbanded before the upcoming elections. It is a well-known fact that 𝐾ZN has the highest incidence of political killings, and there's usually a spike in politically motivated killings before elections. It would not make sense to disband the PKTT immediately unless the stakeholders had advised the minister that immediate disbandment would be appropriate. Having said that, I do not necessarily agree that the PKTT was more successful than any other team investigating the same types of crimes.
Why do you not agree?
Commissioner?
Why do you not agree, General?
I do not agree with the PKTT.
Your last sentence, yes.
I do not agree, Commissioner, because of in these 9 provinces, we also investigate political killing murder cases, and we also investigate cases of murders, serial murders, serious murders. So now if you say PKTT is the best team than any other teams, I think we are demoralizing our members who are working so hard as we sit here chasing suspect. We see in the media, we see all over how is our teams or detective are working more or less the same types of crimes.
I'm not sure that I follow your reasoning, General. The point is about success or lack of it. What you have said, or the reason you give, is about working hard, and it does not address the question of success or lack of it. So can you have another go, please, and explain,
Okay, thanks.
Explain your disagreement?
Okay, Commissioner, what I'm trying to say here is we do have successes in other provinces in the very same team, irrespective whether it's a tax team, where they do have less resources than the PKTT, but they are succeeding. There's a lot of convictions. Same as PKTT, they differ in dynamics, but what I'm trying to just to illustrate here is the PKTT is not the only team within the detective environment which have more successes. Other teams in 8 provinces without tax team, with the Mayagra resources, they also have great successes, Commissioner. I just wanted to bring to this attention that it's not only the PKTT which have higher successes, they also contribute to the performance like any other province which are also contributing, Commissioner.
Let's take one example. Those who say that the PKTT was significantly successful make the point, for example, that the PKTT had within it ballistic experts, for example, and therefore within the PKTT you would not find the delays that you ordinarily find with the ordinary investigation of crime. What's your comment on that? Is it not a fact that with detectives in other areas within SAPS would have to wait for very long periods, for example, for outcomes on ballistic testing? Is that not a fact?
Commissioners, in other teams, we utilize our forensic labs, and there's a turnaround under the ballistic biology. Same with the PKTT. If they take the exhibit 2 ballistic, the very same ballistic experts use the same forensic lab. They don't have a special lab. They go to the very same lab. So there's a turnaround of 21 days, 30 days. So for them, when they say they've got the ballistic assigned in their team, it's just to expedite cases which maybe are court-driven. We also do the same in other teams. If the docket is a court docket, the prosecutor from court will write a letter of expediting. So more or less, Commissioner, if maybe commissioners were in our shoes of investigating, maybe we'll understand. So this is the arrangement which they have done with the labs, but it doesn't mean the other teams, they don't derive joy with some expert from the labs. And Commissioner, we can't afford to have a ballistic expert in every team. So this one, it was a dedicated team to address the political killings nature in 𝐾ZN. That is why they've got this ballistic expert in their team. And when you do investigation, you don't only rely on ballistic experts. There's a lot of experts which are involved. For example, when we deal with... I
said, General, let's take just that one example,
okay.
so as not to avoid being all over the place, yeah.
But just to, maybe I can conclude, Commissioner, other teams who also enjoyed the same example, ballistic experts in all the forensic lab which we have.
But as I understood the evidence with the PKTT, they would expedite this testing in all their matters. That's how I understood the evidence. But as I understand you now with regard to other areas of investigation with other SAPS, it's in the odd case that requests for expediting will be made. Do I understand you correctly?
Yes, yes, Commissioner. When I go through commissioners, you will also see that during the inspection, some of the dockets, they were never expedited for ballistic reports. They're still waiting now. It's 2-3 years. So they were expediting cases which are court-driven. Same with the other teams. If we arrest a suspect, we request the exhibit to be expedited through the prosecutor request. They also expedite those exhibits. So for them, this docket 118, some of them, the DNA is still outstanding, ballistic report is still outstanding because of the agreement or the manner in which we work with the courts, because we know our forensics are overwhelmed with a minimum capacity of experts. That's when now we request for the expedition, because of there's how also the PKTT conduct the investigation. We arrest suspect, then we request forensic to expedite all the exhibits which are related to the crime. If there's nothing, that is why they are still stagnant. There's no ballistic reports, still outstanding.
And to very briefly to move to another example, we are told that with the PKTT, investigations were prosecutor directed, as opposed to the police virtually from start to end, investigating in a manner that may not necessarily cover all the elements of the offense, or indeed even the necessary evidence, in a manner that a prosecutor would require. What's your comment on that?
Commissioner, in my entire 32 years in the detective, you can just investigate, especially serious cases like the murders of this nature, without engaging. We do a PGI, prosecutorial guided investigation. In most serious cases, it's not only PKT, we do with the NPA. Presently, as we speak, we do have a program to enhance that, so that at the end of the day, the outcome, you can see the convictions. But the PGI, we do mostly, all the detective, we go first, pre-trial, there's a PGI where we engage with the prosecutors. You don't just take a docket to court, then you come back. You sit down first with the prosecutor, and then we discuss these cases, and then the guidance will be given. Most of the time we do.
Lastly for now, you say that before the decision to disband, the minister ought to have consulted all relevant stakeholders, and amongst those you mention yourself, because you are the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. Was it the norm for ministers to consult with you on matters involving your area of function?
Commissioner, here I was just illustrating that in this meeting, I understand this executive meeting. In the SAPS, we've got the reporting protocols. I'm the component head. I've got the divisional commissioner, deputy national commissioner, and so forth, national commissioner. I didn't expect the minister just to call me. I expected maybe from General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿 and General 𝐬𝐿 to make me part of the decision which was taken to disband this PKTT, not literally with the minister, but myself also to be part of the discussion behind the disbandment. Maybe during that period, I should have come maybe with some better input, not just to disband immediately, to look into other areas of investigations or impact if the PKTT is going just to be disbanded immediately. That's how me now, I see it later when I'm discussing with General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿.
Thank you, General.
General, we now know that the instruction or the directive of the minister was that the PKTT must disband immediately, and it seems General 𝐟𝐶𝐫𝐿 must have understood it to be, it must be given effect to immediately. That's why the requests about the dockets, as we've now heard from other evidence. If you had been consulted, I'm not saying necessarily by the minister, your superiors, if they had in advance of the decision, before the minister made the decision, they had said to you, there's a plan to disband the PKTT by a certain date, what are the factors or the things that you as component head would have taken into account, or would have suggested and proposed and advised, in fact, would have advised need to be taken into account before the date is fixed for the disbandment of that decision?
Actually, Commissioners, the factors or facts which I will depose during that discussion, I think I will input that maybe we can just disband PKTT immediately the way it is stated. We have to look into other considerations, like the one which I've already mentioned, like the issue of the elections, because the municipal elections are next year. And as we know, the environment of 𝐾ZN political landscape, maybe we were supposed to say, let's look into the issue of the political environment in 𝐾ZN. Maybe let's just take it maybe step by step, not just to disband immediately as alluded here, but I can't say what does immediately mean. Maybe the author can explain what does he mean when he say immediately, of which is true, Commissioners. These tax teams, really, we spent a lot of money on these tax teams. Maybe we were supposed today to take a gradual phasing out, not just bring docket, then phase 2 it will be this one, and phase 3, just gradually. And then we put it into a test. Maybe, for example, when we say gradually, then we take a test for 3 months or 4 months. Then we see if maybe gradually we have taken this out, and then we just test what is happening in 𝐾ZN if this gradual movement will take place, unlike just abruptly. But I don't know, this immediately was just meaning immediately now, or what does immediately mean? But according to me, I would maybe just to suggest the gradual phasing out, because it's true, we've got the structure. If we don't do that, when are we going to capacitate the structure which is in place whilst we are still having this, the tax teams?
And what would you have said about the dockets? What would happen should happen with the dockets that at that point are sitting with the PKTT as this decision is being considered? And when I say docket, I also take into account that the PKTT is a multidisciplinary team. That's what we have been told. What would you have considered there and said should be considered?
The dockets were supposed to go to the murder and robbery of 𝐾ZN.
Okay, so they wouldn't come to national?
No, not to national.
Okay.
We national, we give support.
Yes.
We give supporting investigation, but mostly at national. The very same docket, if it was properly discussed with all the stakeholders, it doesn't make, there's no problem if some of my members from national will work this 𝐾ZN dockets with the members of the murder and robbery. The national commissioner together with General 𝐼𝐶𝐵𝐿 was supposed to give just directive, as most of the dockets, they come through their offices for us to give them attention or to take them from the provinces. But through the engagement with the province, we don't just take dockets from the provinces. We engage them, because most of these dockets, they come as complaint at our office. So I don't see any problem, Commissioners, if this docket really were taken and taken to murder and robbery within that 𝐾ZN murder and robbery.
And what about the staff, the members who at that time are members of the PKTT, and you've already said they come from different stations and provinces? What would you have said should be taken into account and how it should be handled if you had the opportunity before the decision was made?
Okay, Commissioner, I would say those members, because they come from different provinces, but now they are carrying dockets of 𝐾ZN, they will be within that murder and robbery investigating those dockets. Some of them, they will say because they belong in 𝐾ZN, we will maybe encourage them maybe to put some transfers to be permanently maybe posted there in 𝐾ZN. Some of them, they do that. They work all over the province for some few, for a period. Then some of them, they are already interested there. Then they do make some transfers that they can be permanently advised. There's the advice which I will also maybe input. How about those members? Those who are interested to be within the murder and robbery in 𝐾ZN, they can stay there, and then we'll entertain their transfers as they come.
So you would suggest that last part so that they continue working on the dockets?
Yes, not just to take dockets, because they are the one who know those. You know, Commissioner, if you started the docket investigation up until you arrest, you have this interest, you want to see the outcome. Now somebody come take your dockets, you go back to your station of origin from your province, you lost touch. Already you have done that relationship with the deceased families. You are the one who's giving feedback. So mine will say, let those members remain in the murder and robbery in 𝐾ZN.
And then lastly, in that paragraph 22, you say you wouldn't have, especially because elections are coming up, you say local government elections are coming up, you would not have encouraged the disbanding of the PKTT. Now, I'm struggling to reconcile you saying that and also saying, well, they must be disbanded to go to the murder and robbery, to go and capacitate the murder and robbery units. And it suggests, and maybe just clarify that, in my mind, that which looks like a contradiction, where you say you wouldn't have encouraged it being disbanded because we have elections coming, but you're also saying they must go and capacitate the murder and robbery unit. In my mind, it seems to suggest you don't think there's a need for a team such as the PKTT. It seems that what seems to be a contradiction to me seems to suggest that your view is it's not necessary to have that kind of team because this is work that murder and robbery units can do exactly the same way and have exactly the same claimed successes.
Okay, Commissioners, in this statement, paragraph 22, actually I was just showing that if maybe proper consultations were done to get with all the role players within the serious and violent crime, I would suggest to them that for now, let us wait for the municipal elections, because we all know what is happening in 𝐾ZN during the elections. It's a well-known fact. So how about we package this disbandment up until maybe the municipal is over. But in the meantime, we work the process. We don't just fold our arms. We work a process so that when the municipal pre-elections, post-elections, there's no casualties, there's no incident, then we proceed with our proper formal disbandment, which now the members will be in the murder and robbery. So I was just explaining this one that to show that we are approaching. We are only left with some few months, even though we don't know the date for the elections. So it will be prudent that now, how about we leave this PKTT now? But after that, in the meantime, we work the process of disbanding, so that maybe after the election, we don't start afresh. We've got a plan in place which shows that after the elections, then we start with the disbandment, and the members will be taken the murder and robbery sections. That's how I'm just explaining. Maybe it was contradicting. You say now PKTT is the elections, now you say murder and robbery. No, I was just trying to show that because the elections are incoming, how about we leave this team in place? But in the meantime, we work the plan. How after the election, then this member, they will be properly placed in their respective, especially in cases then murder and robbery. Those who are willing to stay behind.
Okay. Maybe lastly, and I hope I'm not being unfair to you with this question. Do you, and do say if you can't answer my question.
Okay.
Do you or do you not accept that there was a valid reason behind the idea to form a task team such as the PKTT to focus on political killings? Do you accept that there's a scenario where there is merit to having such a team?
When it started?
When it started, yes.
Yes,
Given what was happening at the
yes, there was a valid reason during that period.
Yes.
There was a valid why a tax team, because commissioners, we do have tax teams also.
Yes.
Irrespective of political tax team. We do have tax teams where maybe there's cash in transit, where there's also traditional healers are killed, where there's a lot, where women and children are killed, raped and maimed, the gangs in Western Cape. We also have that particular tax team, but they are not forever. When we stabilize that threat, the tax team ceased to operate. So there was a valid reason why this team was established from the onset.
And is your position that as long as we haven't stabilized or you haven't stabilized the situation, if there's no evidence that you have stabilized the situation, or in fact if the situation continued, the problem with political killings, for example, if in the next elections you see a spike, is your position that there would still be an argument to retain the PKTT?
Yes, commissioners, maybe when we reach that arena as management of SAPS, together with the other integrated or external stakeholders who are the crime fighters, we have to sit down and consider this position of disbandment. During that period,
yes,
then we have to sit down and reconsider.
So having the team having been established, the task team, the PKTT having been established, is it fair to say that the decision to disestablish it or to disband it would have to look, on your approach, would have to look at whether you have stabilized the situation, and that is what would inform the decision to disband not just the PKTT but any other task team?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, commissioners.
Commissioners, we're debating if this 1 minute can be used, but we will ask for a 1 minute early adjournment for tea.
Let us adjourn and resume at
Words, you deal with the actual audit. Can you confirm that you assembled a team of 9 officers to undertake this audit process?
Yes, I can confirm, commissioners. Commissioners, from that 9, as I go further with my testimony, I will explain why I took 1 from the 9 members.
Okay, and that this inspection process took place between the 19th and the 30th of May?
Yes, commissioners, it started from that date.
And commissioners, the actual audit report or inspection report is Annexure IM5 to Mr. Mdluli's affidavit at page 26 of his annexures. Just to note that. General, you were then provided with the audit report on the 6th of June What did you do with this audit report?
Commissioners, when I received the inspection schedule or matrix, I went through it as the norm. When you receive the report from the members, you have to go through the inspection itself, and then I compiled and sort of a summary, executive summary, the shortcomings, the findings, and then from there, I called Colonel Mguli, the one who was presenting me with this inspection matrix or report. Not report as such, it's me who's going to do now a report. Then I compiled the necessary report for the attention of General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿. Why General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿? During that period when I came back from leave, I just want to bring to the attention of the commissioners that my direct commander actually is General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿, but she was not present during that period, so I was engaging mostly with General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿. So maybe commissioners will see through why I'm saying General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿, not General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿. General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 came back on the 7th of June. So after compiling, then I make that report.
Sorry, General, what was the purpose of the report?
Okay. Commissioners, when members do inspections, you as their commander, you have to do that summarized report to your immediate, like General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 is a divisional commissioner, so that I'm taking General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿 through the whole inspection report, because myself and General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿, especially General 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐿, was not involved in the inspection. So the main purpose is for him also to get the jigs of the entire inspection of what transpired through the report. But I also gave him the very same matrix or schedule which Colonel Mguli compiled. I also gave it to him. So it was this matrix, and also together with my report, the one which I've made sort of a summary of the findings and shortcomings and recommendations from the bigger report, the inspection report.
Thank you, General. If you have regard to paragraph 24 of your statement, you describe a different purpose for the report. Can you have a look at the second sentence?
Okay, commissioners, can I read this? Thereafter, on or about 6 June 2025, I compiled a draft and signed report in the form of an executive summary of the inspection exercise undertaken. The purpose of the draft report was to motivate for the budget allocation for these dockets to be investigated and to get direction from General 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐿 and General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿, as the report is next year to marked as MCM1. Yes, in this draft report, I went to General 𝐬𝐫𝐵𝐿, and then by that time General 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 was back. So I was just discussing this inspection with them, what is the findings, because they said that I must ensure that we proceed with investigation. Then that's when now I told them I don't have a budget in my component because of the PKTT they are budgeted for. So now I must proceed with these 118 dockets. I need some money to go to KZN to conduct the investigations.
And General, the need for money, if the PKTT was to be sort of, the members were going to be reintegrated into the murder and robbery unit, which is your component at a provincial level, why was there need for additional money?
The money which is allocated to PKTT, the needs was looked into before when the money was allocated to them. So why now I'm needing this money? Because of, I was thinking the management won't go to the money which is allocated budget for PKTT so that they can reallocate or divert the money from the PKTT to 118. So I thought when I request this money, then I will be given some portion, either from the very same money which is given, because of 118 dockets is also budgeted within the PKTT. So by so doing, I thought maybe, for example, they've got 10 million, maybe I will get a portion, maybe 2 or 3 million, so that I can conduct the 118, because it's already budgeted. Actually, there I can say I was just trying, I can put maybe my luck, so that maybe I can get something. And that's when now General Sintumula said, okay, General, just put it in writing. The request for funding. In the meantime, I will speak with the Chief Financial Officer, which is General Dimpani.
Thank you, General. And would you have been able to proceed with investigations if funding wasn't available?
If funding was not?
If it wasn't made available?
No, I wouldn't proceed with investigations because of commissioners. When you go to 𝐾ZN, we plan to go there on a fortnight. I even make a breakdown of the hotels, the daily allowances, and so forth, like the PKTT. Then we said we won't go and stay there for 6 months. Maybe we go for a fortnight, we come back, just like that, and go back up until maybe this 118, we reduce them to the acceptable level. We even said that maybe 6 months. Actually, we wanted to start from 1st of June until December. Then January, we do our assessment to see from this 118, because already through the inspection, we saw which one we can start with. So 118, maybe we were within that 6 months, maybe 60, 70 dockets. Maybe we were supposed to finalize. Sorry. It depends with the dynamics of 𝐾ZN when we arrive there. But that one, it was another story. That's how we plan we are going to do. At least 6 months, there must be an impact on this 118 dockets.
I know it was not your decision, General, but it just does not make sense to me to bring in a fresh or a new team when there was a team in place already. Once it had been decided by General 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿 that investigations should go on, I just do not understand why those investigations should not have been conducted by the PKTT. It just doesn't make sense.
Yes, commissioners, because now I was finding myself in that dilemma. I also have to swim. I must come up and devise as a manager. How am I going to swim with this 118? That is why I was taking all these actions, or maybe some suggestions. How about we do this so that we can also ensure that these 118 dockets can be investigated? Because, Commissioner, these dockets, they've been there also, not being given attention. And then I know, Commissioner, if dockets are sitting a long time with investigating officers, what feedback are you giving to the deceased family, especially where here we have lost life, irrespective whether it's a housebreaking or a theft of motor vehicle? The people need answers, and they need their satisfying answers. So that is why I was eager. Just give me money, I will go and work this docket, Commissioner.
And also, I mean, with the new investigators coming in cold, there would be delays. Do you accept that?
Yes, I accept, Commissioner. I accept that one.
Thank you, General.
General, your report, the draft report that you compiled, is page 1 of the annexures. Commissioners, that's MCM1, which starts at page 1 of the annexure set of documents. General, if you can have regard to paragraph 1.1 of that statement, of that draft report. So it's immediately after your statement.
Okay, yes, I see it.
You say there that on 31 December 2024, the Minister's Office issued an instruction through the Office of the Deputy National Commissioner, General 𝐟𝐵𝐵𝐿, who was acting as the National Commissioner at the time. Is that a correct reflection of what happened?
Commissioners, in this one, I think it's a typo to say General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿, because from our from our office we thought it was General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿 who was acting. But he later, during our engagement, he also brought this to my attention, because he also signed. He said that I saw you wrote me I was acting. Actually, it was not me who was acting. It was General Musikidi. So already these letters, they were signed. But I would like to apologize just for that one, because I wrote General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿. Actually, it was General Musikidi who was acting.
And General, this report, this draft report, did you give it to Generals 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿 and 𝐶𝐿𝐵𝐿?
No, this report, as I was explaining, Commissioners, General 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿, during the engagement of the dockets, she was not present. I just gave this report after we finished, and then General 𝐸𝐵𝐿 came. I think it was on the 7th, mostly of these inspections. But the main one, the one when we were discussing with General 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿 and General 𝐸𝐿𝐵𝐿, I gave them the bigger one, where I went and just explained to them what transpired through the inspections. And when we were engaging about the extra money, it was on the 7th of June, when General 𝐸𝐵𝐿 advised that I must write a information note pertaining to request for extra budget or funding to go and conduct those docket in 𝐾ZN investigations.
Commissioners, that information note is MCM2, which is at page 13 of the annexures. General, you talk about the meeting and that General 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿 asked that you prepare the information note, but at paragraph 27 you go on to talk about a second information note that was prepared regarding the missing statements. Can you tell the commissioners about this?
Commissioners, during the inspection of this docket and through my perusal, I was approached by Captain van der Berg, who was also part of the inspecting team. But during that inspection, we took 2 dockets from Eastern Cape, the one of 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐿, who passed on. Then because of the sister of the deceased was calling General 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿 just to get feedback of the cases. There were 2 cases, attempted murder and the murder one. So the docket was initially investigated in my office when it was taken by PKTT during October 2023. So in those dockets, Captain van der Berg brought it to my attention that there were 32 statements which were missing from the docket. Then immediately it raised some concern. I even asked 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿, because he was leading the inspecting team, the inspection. Then I asked him, they didn't experience similar incident like this one where statements are missing. Then 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 informed me, General, actually, we also realized that 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 and Greytown, there were also statements missing, 10, 12. He even said that it is mentioned in that inspection matrix. And then from there, I penned down this information note. I brought it to the attention of General 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐿 that in this docket of these 3 dockets, the Greytown, 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 and Mthatha, there were statements which were missing. How we saw it, commissioners, is under the C clip, which is the diary SAPS 5. The statements were annexed. For example, it will say General Motsepe statement A4, Commissioner Madlanga statement A5, Commissioner Khumalo statement A6, and so forth. But when you check the A clip, there's no statement as such, because of you can't annex the C clip without a statement. The statement speaks to the C. A part speaks to the C. What you do on the A part of the docket is reflected under the C clip. It's your diary. So immediately I brought it to the attention of General Sevilla. Then General Sevilla wanted to call General Kumar. Then I said, no, you can still call, but let's put it in writing so that maybe he can respond why this statement I'm missing from the docket, whereas they have been annexed under the C-clip. That's when I wrote this information note to General Sevilla.
Are there instances when investigators would remove statements from dockets, General?
Commissioner, pardon?
Are there instances when investigators would remove statements from dockets?
No, commissioners, we don't have those instances. Usually when you take a statement, maybe you for example, you go out, take statement. When you come back to the office, you do most now administration. You have to put it there and annex. So you can annex C-clip, my statement, whereas the statement is not there. So it shows the docket, the statement were there, clipped, I'm just assuming, and then they were taken out. Or maybe they were annexed before they were put under the clip. I don't know what was the rationale behind that, but you can't just reflect it under the C-clip, whereas it's not on the A part, because they go hand in hand. Sometimes you put them under A, you don't annex. So when you go through the dockets, you'll see that A4 is not reflected, then we have to reflect it under the C-clip. So in this one, I don't know what happened, but they were not there.
Just explain the C-clip to me, please.
Or the C-clip, commissioners, the docket is divided into, I can say, 5 parts. It's the front page, then it will be, we call it the A clip. Second page, the third one is the B clip, where we put all the correspondence. Then becomes the C, where we put all the diary. And then the last part, it will be where suspects are arrested, then we are charging. That's why we charge. All the suspects will reflect, but provision is made only for 2 suspects, but we've got an additional paper, or not a paper as such. It also forms part of the docket where you attach it. Is sort of an annexure that it will say maybe suspect 1, 2, 3, then the other one will 4. If there are 15 or 20, you can put as much, as long as they will reflect in the docket, and they look the same like the first one where we have charged.
So the clips are basically part of the docket folder?
Yes, when I say the C clips, actually we call it the SAPS C5 diary. It's a C part. So where you write every activity, like when you write...
All of that is part of the folder that
yes.
covers.
Yes.
It used to be
yes.
brownish.
When you open the docket,
it used to be brownish in the olden days.
It's
I don't know
brown.
what,
It's still
yes,
brown.
Yes. So those are there.
Yes.
Then the statements are loose pieces of paper that get put in, or
no,
that are placed in this folder, in the docket folder.
Yes, the docket like this
Yes.
file in front of us. Then it go upwards. We call it A1, is the complainant statement.
Yes, yes.
It's 1. Then go up.
It's a loose piece of paper.
Yeah, it's a statement.
Yes.
You put A, this one is A1. Then on the C part of the docket,
You make a note of
you
it.
make a note, the
Okay.
statement of General Motsepe is C,
Okay.
is A1.
All
Just like
right.
that ballistic report obtained from forensic lab, A2.
All right,
Just like
all
that,
right.
because it's part of the evidence of the statement. So they go hand in hand.
Okay.
So
you were able to tell from the folder, this brown folder, that notes had been made, that there's this statement, there's that statement, there's that statement, but the actual statements themselves were not in that folder.
they are not here in the A part.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I hope the evidence leaders will not fight with me about this. From a statement that we have read, a point is made that investigators had taken some of the statements out of the dockets. That's how I understand the statement. So you are basically saying that that's not supposed to happen.
It's not supposed, commissioners.
So if you want a statement for purposes of your investigation, you would have to take the entire docket. Is that what you are suggesting?
No, what I'm trying to say, commissioners, is you can write under the C, the diary, and mention annexed statement of General Motsepe.
Yes.
But the very same statement of General Motsepe, which is A4, whatever number, is not here in the docket.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is, let us suppose that the statement of General Motsepe was actually taken.
Yes.
And because it was taken, it is noted as A4
Yes.
or whatever.
Mm.
So it's not. But when you get to the docket, the physical statement itself is not there.
It's not there, Commissioner.
So my question is, but it was taken. My question is there anything wrong with investigators removing A4 for purposes of their investigation, taking it out of the brown folder? Is there anything wrong with that?
Hey, Commissioner, that one really, because I don't know what happened during the investigation. Maybe they've got reasons. They put A4 there, but they took the A statement for some other reasons of their investigation. But when you are an inspecting officer, you expect the docket. That's where the audit comes, an inspection. When I take the docket like this, I expect to see the A4 attached under the docket. If maybe they took it for purposes of maybe for inspections or for bails or whatever during the nature or during the nature of the investigation, maybe something which maybe they will explain. Maybe they took it for something.
So in your experience, if as part of my investigation, I want to go around, but I want to have this statement readily available for purposes of my investigation, what would I have to do? Would I have to take the entire folder with all the statements in it, even if all that I want is General Motsepe's A4? Would I have to take the entire docket?
Commissioner, if you take the statement for the purpose of investigation,
Yes.
You can make a copy and certify it. You can make a copy, leave the docket actually must be intact because this brown follows an evidence which in future we intend to produce it before court. But if you take, just imagine 32 statements are not in the docket for purposes of investigation. What type of investigation? Why don't in the diary you mention somewhere? Or maybe in the pocket books. Maybe in their pocket books they mention, because pocket books and the diary actually they go hand in hand. If maybe in their pocket books they have mentioned that I took this docket for purposes of another docket investigation, but usually we make copies. If maybe this one is an original of the statement of that particular case, you must make a copy and use it as for purpose of investigation. But in that scenario, I don't know why those statements were taken from the docket.
Thank you, General.
General, I think in your either in your statement or in one of the other statements that we have, we are told that some of these dockets were inherited. I think the dockets go as back as 2006. I think that's the earliest. Now, where you found your audit finds that statements are missing, were inquiries made that resolved the question, where do they miss these statements? At which point were they there and when do they go missing? And I ask the question because from your evidence, and I don't know if that is the intention of what you are conveying, from your evidence, it seems you are saying the PKTT members removed statements from the dockets. Now, given that some of those dockets, if we accept that evidence, are inherited dockets that were given to the PKTT as things moved along, do you know whether those statements that were identified as missing, where in fact did they go missing? Do they go missing in the hands of the PKTT or from whence those dockets came?
Sorry, Commissioners, this docket, especially the one which I'm alluding them, Tata one, they were inherited from my office. But the statement which was annexed under the diary C is their handwriting, is the member of the PKTT. Where Colonel Odendal stopped in the diary where he wrote whatever investigation he conducted. It shows you have to sign with a date and time. But the one which I'm mentioning is the PKTT members. Thanks, Commissioners.
And General, you mentioned that you then made an inquiry to General Khumalo through the information note annexed as MCM3. Do you know if that information note was ever sent to General Khumalo and his response?
Commissioners, I wrote the information note to the attention of General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞, and then I just ended up with General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞. I don't know whether it was taken further with General Khumalo, but I brought it under his attention because General Khumalo report directly to General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞.
So, General, just to follow up on Commissioner Baloyi's question, did you get responses from the PKTT on all of these queries that are mentioned in your report? So, in instances where there's a statement missing, was there ever an inquiry to the PKTT to say, I've got docket, let's say docket 95. It is noted that there should be a statement in the docket. When we audit the docket, we see that the statement is missing. Was there ever an inquiry made to the PKTT to say, where is the statement that should go with this docket?
Commissioners, I never communicated with the PKTT myself. I was doing it through protocol, through General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞, so that he can communicate with General Khumalo. But that is why I put this information note down, so that he can take the matter up with General Khumalo.
Okay. But as far as you know, that was never taken up?
I did myself. I didn't get a response from General Khumalo or where at the statement. I never received the response from him, because I took it upon General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞, who was supposed to give me feedback, but so far I've never received any response from General Khumalo or General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐞 about this missing statement.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Then, General, you deal with what you highlighted as shortcomings identified from the inspection process. We are at paragraph 29. Can you give a summary of those findings or shortcomings that you identified?
Commissioners, can I go through and read them? I further alluded that I was not directly involved in the audit exercise, but I did spot check a few dockets and receive comprehensive feedback from the team who conducted the audit. The following are a few of the shortcomings that were identified. 23 suspects were identified by witnesses, but these suspects were not arrested. One case was withdrawn by a witness because the suspect was on bail and the witnesses were fearful for their lives. 4 cases were found nully prosecuted because the public prosecutor instructions were not complied with. 1 case, the suspects were identified in the identity parade, but they were not charged, meaning they were identified immediately. When the suspects are identified in the parade, what follows, you must charge them, take them to court. But in this instance, they were only identified in the ID parade. 1 case, the suspect was arrested with no public prosecutor instructions in the docket. It shows that the suspect is arrested, taken to court, but it doesn't show all the court processes, because it must appear either at whatever lower court or at the regional court, and the prosecutor actually must write something on the docket instructions.
I'm not sure I understand this point, General. Are you saying that PKTT members could not effect arrests without instructions from a prosecutor, even if the requirements for an arrest, set by the Criminal Procedure Act were satisfied?
Which paragraph is that one, Commissioner?
I'm referring to your 29.5. 1 case, the suspect was arrested with no public prosecutor instructions in the docket, which I understand to say, if has not been an instruction by a prosecutor, go arrest that suspect, there can be no arrest. That's how I understand your 29.5. Now my question is, are you saying that PKTT members could not effect arrests without instructions from a prosecutor, even if the requirements for an arrest set by the Criminal Procedure Act were satisfied?
Commissioners, in this particular docket, a suspect was arrested. So when the suspect is arrested and charged, they must go through the processes at court. So in this one, it doesn't show that actually the person was arrested, but he was never, it seems he never went through the court processes. If the suspect was arrested and released, there was supposed to be a release form inside the docket. So this one, the suspect was arrested, taken to court. So where did he appear? Which court?
Also, it is not the arrest that you are querying. What you are querying is the lack of any entries made by the prosecutor on the docket. Is that what your query is?
No, actually, Commissioner, maybe the manner in which it was faced here, I was just showing that the suspect, yes, in the docket, he was arrested. But it seems he ended up without appearing before court because there's no prosecutor's instructions. If a person appears before court, it's a norm. The prosecutor will write something on the front page of the docket, maybe remanded for bail for 7 days and so forth. Even inside, they write something. They will say maybe obtain ballistic report, obtain whatever medical report. But this one is just a docket. So it seems it never. That is why I'm indicating, emphasizing the issue of the public prosecutor, not the arrest.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I guess it's a problem with the phrasing.
Okay.
I did not understand what you meant.
That's all right,
Thank you, thank you.
General, these findings or the shortcomings that you identified are pretty serious. Did you then communicate these findings to General Khumalo to inquire about some of these challenges?
Commissioners, everything in this inspection report was never communicated to General Khumalo. It was communicated to General 𝐬𝐫𝐿. That is why I say the reporting a template or the protocol. You speak with General 𝐬𝐫𝐿. By that time, General 𝐬𝐫𝐿 was supposed to call General Khumalo just to bring this to his attention. Myself and the team were just doing the inspection. Now we are giving the outcome of the inspection to General 𝐬𝐫𝐿 to take it further with General Khumalo.
And then, General, paragraph 30, can you confirm those are the 3 cases wherein there were missing statements that you referred to earlier?
Yes, Commissioners, Umlazi case 479 of 4/2016, 10 statement missing. I just mentioned here the victim was an ANC member. And then the Greytown case 2 of 11/2018, which is murder, 32 statements. Actually here, I think, Commissioner, it was a typo from ourselves. Let me apologize. It's not 10 statements, it's 12. 32 statement is the one of Mthatha, the one of the murder. So for Greytown, it must read as 12 statement, not 32.
Thank you, General.
Can you please explain the Mthatha case? My recollection, which may not necessarily be accurate, is that in the Eastern Cape, the cases investigated by the PKTT were Fort Hare cases. I seem to recall that there was also mention of an East London case, but probably it was connected with the Fort Hare cases, I'm not sure. I don't remember mention being made of a Mthatha case.
Commissioners, at the initial stages, we spoke about 118 dockets. Actually, we were supposed to say 121. Let me apologize for not taking you through. So PKTT, through the testimony of General Khumalo and the National Commission, they did mention the cases from Eastern Cape. So when the docket were taken back, after 3 weeks,
My issue is not with the 118, 121, because my understanding was still that to make up the total of 121,
yes,
3 cases were added from the Fort Hare cases. So what I'm saying is, I don't remember a Mthatha case ever being mentioned. I don't quite see why the Mthatha case would have been part of the Fort Hare cases. So the Mthatha case sounds like it's something new altogether. Do you get me now? So I was just trying to understand where and how the Mthatha case features.
Commissioners, 121 dockets actually is this docket. Is 2 dockets from Tata and 1 from Alice, which was part of Fort Hare. But when the docket were brought, later, the 3 docket, it was Alice and 2 Mthatha. So the 2 Mthatha is this one.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Chair, if I may be of assistance, in General Masimola's testimony, he indicated that there was a trip to Fort Hare when there was a directive for them to include it as part of the PKTT's mandate, said there was uproar about a particular murder, which was the Namhla case, and he then requested head office to give that case over to the PKTT. So it wasn't related to Fort Hare, but was added because of a public outcry at the time they were there to address the Fort Hare issues.
Thank you, thank you.
General, you then deal with the stalling of investigations that you noted at paragraph 31. Can you explain what you mean by stalled investigations?
Commissioners, by stalling investigations, I just want to illustrate that the 121 dockets, they were stalled for some period. The oldest docket is from 2016, where suspects were identified through Section 205 Sapuna, but the suspects were not arrested. And then in the big inspection report or inspection matrix or schedule, the last entry on this docket, I think it was, investigation was done on 2023. In this report, commissioners, I was just highlighting to General 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿 the outcome from, I didn't take all the 121 dockets to put them here. I was just highlighting, like 2016, we are now at 2025. But the last entry in the docket, it was 2023. And then the next one was this one. This 2016 is Harding case, if I'm not mistaken, from the inspection report. And the other one was no evidence of investigations conducted, is some docket from 2016 until 2024. Senior public prosecutor and director of public prosecution's instructions were ignored, not complied with. Forensic ballistic reports are outstanding for a lengthy period of time. Section 205 Sapuna reports are not analyzed. They are there in the docket. When you receive a Section 205, you have to analyze so that you can make the linkages of the suspect together with the crime committed. So it doesn't serve a purpose. You receive a Section 205 from the service provider, you put it in the docket. So you have to go through and analyze it so that you can come up with the linkages. Cases are not enrolled because of insufficient evidence. So in these instances, you'll find that suspects are arrested prematurely. You take suspect to court, but there's no evidence to link. That is why they are not enrolled.
General, what you've done from paragraph 29 and the same in paragraph 30, you are very specific about the number of dockets that are affected by what you've identified as shortcomings. And in paragraph 31, you've so far identified 31.1, and I think you say it's a Harding case. So it's clear there that you're talking about one case, one docket, let me say. The balance of that, 31.2 up to 31.6, You don't say, and maybe you should be specific if you can, because right now the impression is it's a general picture. You are dealing with 121 dockets, and one doesn't have a sense of where you say investigations were not conducted from 2016 until 2024. How many dockets are we talking about? Is this a widespread problem? Is it an exceptional problem that you picked up? And so on up to point 6.
Commissioners, in this one, I was just giving a synopsis. Actually, from 121 docket, it is a widespread where most of the investigations were not conducted. I was just highlighting the few. So some of these, there are commonalities. If I take the 31.3, senior public prosecutor and director of public prosecution, instructions were ignored. Maybe from 121, you will find 10 or 15. So here I was just highlighting the shortcomings of what is happening in the 121. But the whole document, this one, the matrix, it is indicating there's a column which shows hiding case and then comments by the inspection team from my office. And then actually, it doesn't mean the officers in the PKTT never gave instructions. They did also give instructions. Some of the shortcomings which we have identified or the team identified comes from the very same officers who gave instructions. For example, analyze section 205, analyze section 205. Nothing was done also there. So other inspections or outcome come from this new inspection team. They saw other things which the same officers never came across, but this day contained in the docket. So I was just showing to a large extent what is happening in the docket by then. Because of commissioners, when you do inspection, by then you'll get, I will go to Western Cape, more or less I will get the same. Not when we do this inspection, we were criticizing or trying to point a finger to the PKTT. When we are inspecting, you will come up with similar findings in some other dockets. I just want to bring this to the attention of the commissioners.
Commissioner Baloyi, we can, with the general, prepare a supplementary to deal with exactly which cases. We do have the complete schedule. Is that correct, General?
It's correct, Commissioner. We do have the matrix here.
Then, General, at paragraph 32, you deal with the 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾 case and a directive to immediately start investigating. Can you explain what happened there?
Commissioners, the 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾 case was investigated prior from my office by Lieutenant Colonel Odendal. So during October 2023, the docket was taken to the very same 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾 docket. There were 2 dockets attempted, and then the murder one. They were taken to the PKTT. Then when the docket came back, General Khumalo informed the sister of the deceased that the docket are back to our office. But before that, General Khumalo explained, I'm using General Khumalo as a divisional commissioner, and then who said that is a project manager, I'm going to use, because I engaged with the sister of the deceased. She also told me the very same story, that when the docket before they were taken to our office, General Khumalo explained to the sister that they identified a motive and they were supposed to go through with the takedown of the target. And then the target applied for an interdict against the investigation. So there was an interim, there was an interdict, let me say there was an interdict against the investigation, but it was dismissed by the Mthatha High Court, I think this year, January or February. And then later, when they were still busy again now to make the takedown, Commissioner, now we are speaking things of last year, I think it was somewhere October. The docket was taken 2023. They were busy with whatever investigation. Then last year, when they were supposed to conduct a takedown, they identified most the motive and the target. There was an interdict. It was dismissed this year. General Kumar told the sister that when they were supposed to do now is another takedown this year, the docket was recalled by General CB. Said they couldn't conduct a takedown this year, even last year, because of the interdict. So the sister called General CB complaining as if we are taking them as a family for a ride. Then General CB gave me the number of the sister. I took this docket from when they were still busy with the inspections. I took this docket, gave it to Captain van der Berg, because he was familiar with this docket. He used to work it with Colonel Odenda. And then I took it from him, but he was attending a lot of high court matters. Then by that time, I had two members whom I deployed in 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐽. They were investigating the insurance matters, which is very prevalent in Eastern Cape, especially in 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐽. Then I took this docket so that whilst they are in Eastern Cape, they must conduct the investigation in this docket. Then the sister, through that explanation, she was happy. Then she communicated with Colonel Kenan and Mapeto. They were now the new investigating officer of this matter. So whilst they were also investigating, that's when now the docket now taken back to KZN. I was just explaining here what transpired of the Mthatha case, the Namhlawan. That's the whole thing in paragraph.
Does that, General, not illustrate the problem created with the taking of dockets? Because now they are supposed to execute the takedown, but they don't have the docket with them. So that takedown never happens because they don't have the docket.
It never happened because the PKTT, they are the one who identified the target. So I was asking myself, when the interdict is dismissed, but there were two months lapse for the docket to be recalled by General CB, why the takedown didn't take place? Because they've identified most the target last year.
You're talking about now the interdict is dismissed in January. And
Yes.
your question is, in February and March, why did they not execute the takedown?
Yes, because they told the sister, that's what the sister is telling me. She understood the interdict after the attempt to make the takedown. Now she's asking, the interdict is dismissed by January, Feb. Why now they didn't effect the arrest or make the takedown before you from National, you requested the docket. Now the docket with you are going to start afresh now. So now the docket with these two kennels is taken back again KZN. I don't know whether it's still in KZN or where is the docket now.
I'm with you.
General, just to clarify, the dismissal was in February.
It was Feb. Okay. Thanks for that.
And this is February when, 2025?
2025 commissioners.
After the decision to disband the PKTT was made.
Yes, after that directive of the minister.
And then, General, at paragraph 33, you speak about General Mkhwanazi's media briefing and some of the statements he made there about the dockets. Do you want to elaborate on this?
Commissioners, if I can read my statement, this paragraph 33. During General Mkhwanazi's media briefing on 6 July 2025, he indicated that 5 dockets had warrant of arrest that had been issued and that the dockets are gathering dust at the head office of General CB without being given the necessary attention. And I said it's not true.
Why do you say it's not true? Because this related to whether there were any investigations taking place. Is that not so?
Yes, Commissioner.
So So what this meant was the dockets are sitting at head office with no investigations going on. So it was in that sense that General Mkhwanazi was saying that the dockets were gathering dust. So why do you disagree with that? Because no investigations were taking place.
Commissioner, before the investigation was supposed to take place, we have done the inspections. I think it's part and parcel, even though it's not physical investigations of the docket. But by mere investigation, requesting the funding, it shows that we needed to go and do the
But General, you've just agreed that what General Mkhwanazi was talking about was the fact that no investigations were taking place. So inspections of dockets and so on do not go to the question of actual investigations. So in that sense, the dockets were gathering dust. Why do you not agree with that?
That's the explanation which I'm giving, Commissioner. The docket were not gathering dust because this docket were only 3 months here with us, approximately, maybe 3 months. And then in the month of, they came March, and then April, the itineraries completed. When General Mkhwanazi refused the docket, the National Commissioner said that General CBM must use his own discretion. So also the inspections which we conducted, it shows we are doing something in the docket.
General, you should not take this personally. It's not you being criticized at all, and let alone personally.
Okay.
What General Mkhwanazi was talking about was that no investigations were taking place. Is that not so? That's what he meant in his media statement. Is that media briefing, rather? Is that not so?
Commissioner will take that.
So
that the investigations
so
were never conducted.
In that sense, the dockets were gathering dust. That is what General Mkhwanazi meant. Do you accept that? You see, General Mkhwanazi's statement would still have been true even if someone, maybe a general worker, would pick up the dockets and dust them off every day so that there isn't literally dust on them. But they would be gathering dust in the sense that they were not investigated. That is all that General Mkhwanazi meant. Do you accept that?
I will accept that, Commissioner,
Thank you.
If you say it.
Thank you.
Tim.
Thank you.
And then General, your reference is made at paragraph 34 to the criticism that there were 5 warrants of arrest issued in the dockets, but you there talk about what your audit found. Can you explain what you mean there?
When the team conducted the audit, commissioners, they found 2 warrants of arrest agreed to by the prosecutor and magistrate on 2nd October 2024. It was in Ndwendwe case 127 of 10/2023. These warrants of arrest were never executed. They were there in Ndwendwe dockets, but they were never executed. And the commander wrote that the suspect must be circulated. The procedure, as I know, it is when the investigating officer received a signed warrant of arrest, actually it's not supposed to be in there. You don't put it there in the docket. You receive a warrant, you have to go and execute. He must proceed to execute the warrant by first tracking and tracing the suspect or suspect. If there are no leads regarding the suspect whereabouts, the investigating officer would then complete an SAP 55 for purposes of circulation and send this to the Criminal Record Center for further circulation in the database of wanted circulated persons.
Can you please explain the concept of circulating a suspect. What does that mean?
Commissioners, in this Ndwendwe, there is a warrant of arrest in the docket. So the commander, instead of egging the investigating officer to trace the suspect, then when we went through the diary, it never indicates where the suspect were traced. The main purpose of signing a warrant of arrest is to execute. Execute meaning you must go and trace the suspect. So this one, it came, is attached and then doing the case, and the commander just say circulate. How can you circulate a suspect who was never traced?
It's exactly that circulating that I'm interested in. What does it mean to circulate a suspect?
Okay.
How do you do that?
Okay, Commissioner, when we circulate a suspect, we complete this SAPS 55 for a purpose that there will be a hit if the suspect is arrested somewhere. Then in the system, because now it's captured in the system, it will be a hit. Then the investigating officer in that particular, he will inform this one that your suspect is arrested here. Come in. That's the main purpose of circulating.
Thank you, thank you.
General, and then you deal with one other docket at paragraph 35, where there was an unsigned warrant.
Commissioners, in this one is still warrant of arrest. Furthermore, there was one docket where the warrant of arrest was completed by the investigating officer, but not signed by the prosecutor or a magistrate, meaning the warrant was never issued. So it's a warrant of arrest J50, completed, but not signed by the prosecutor or magistrate. So it's just a J50 there in the docket. I'm just responding to what General Mokwanas was alluding, that there were 5 warrants of arrest which were imminent. We delayed because docket were gathering dust. That is why this warrant of arrest were never executed. So we found these types of warrant, the 2 which were signed, the other one where it was not signed. Those are the only warrant which we found in the dockets.
And General, earlier you explained that one of the purpose of doing the inspection was to identify low-hanging fruit, so that if there's anything that needs to be done urgently, that can be attended to. Is there a reason why these ones, where there were either a need for circulation or perhaps getting the warrant signed, why those weren't given priority while the administrative processes for getting funding were going on?
Actually, commissioners, we planned it in that way from the onset. When they were doing inspection, then they're bringing me some heads up. I even suggested, how about maybe before we look into the funding, we look into our own monies, the one which I'm having, then we go and execute on especially these 2 warrant of arrest. So that at least, because you can see they are there, and they were issued last year, October, the 2nd of October 2024, if I'm not mistaken. They were issued last year. Now is this year. They've never been executed. We thought it in that line that these low-hanging fruits, if we got money, we are going to start first, like the one which I mentioned, where I said 23 suspect were witness identified suspect. Those were the first dockets which we wanted to start with, actually.
So General, the question still remains, why wasn't this done if that could have been done while you were waiting for the big money issue to be settled?
Commissioners, when we look into our coffers, especially my budget, we didn't have enough money to embark and conduct this investigation. We wanted to go there, but because of money, because finance office, they are the one which will guide you. Immediately when you write there that this docket come, you have to outlay what is happening. This docket come from the PKTT. They all know that there's money being allocated to PKTT. Then we have to explain. That is why now we took this route of requesting for an extra budget.
So, General, these dockets, at least the 2 that you've given dates for, the October one, October 2024, we know there's a period of about 2 months before the PKTT is disbanded. You are saying in that period, in that window period before they were disbanded, these warrants should have been executed in that period.
By the PKTT.
Yes, I understand that. You're
Yes,
saying
Commissioner.
in that 2 months period.
Yes, before, yes.
Then the PKTT is disbanded on the 31st, at least that's the directive. So for all intents and purposes, as far as the minister is concerned, it seems that from the 31st of December or from the 1st of January, there's no PKTT to speak of. I guess that's why General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐸 instructs that the files must come back, the dockets must come to Johannesburg, to Pretoria rather. Now, what that means, and this speaks to an earlier point by Commissioner Khumalo, that because of this decision, we know now that from January up to whenever these dockets were returned to 𝐾ZN, these 2 warrants were never executed. On your explanation, because you were waiting for a budget.
Yes, Commissioners.
Thank you.
General, just to complete the point, it was also not possible for you to speak to your provincial counterpart. I think is it Major General Gopa?
Yes, Major General Gopa.
In the same component, especially for the urgent matters to be attended to.
Commissioners, really, we never communicated with them. This is the outcome of the inspection, and then we never communicated. Up until we finished by 30th May, we have never communicated and brought to the attention that we found 2 warrants of arrest in the docket. How about maybe you expect that we never communicated with them?
General, we're going to move to the next topic, being the allegations of defeating the ends of justice. And there you speak about a visit. You first talk about the funding request that was sent. Do you want to explain what happened with that funding request? That was sent to the National Commissioner to request funding for these investigations.
Commissioners.
Maybe, General, before you answer that, just keep the question in mind, but what I'm going to ask you is related in a way. The information note that we looked at, MCM2, that we looked at earlier, under recommendations, you've got 2 recommendations, and the one is the funding issue recommendation, and then the first one, though, is that you recommend that the dockets be returned to 𝐾ZN for investigation, and then that's the first recommendation, and then the next recommendation you make is for funding, that a dedicated budget be given to the national team. Why, in your thinking, was that the first preference, your first preference, that the dockets be returned to 𝐾ZN? Well, why was it your first preference?
Commissioners, in this one, I was recommending that if maybe we are not going to get the budget, let the docket go back to their where they belong, because the PKTT already got funding, or they are budgeted, inclusive of this 121 dockets which are under investigation. And then the next recommendation is the one of the funding from the National Commissioner.
How did you think about it? I mean, at this point, this is a memo in June, or an information note in June, so we know that the PKTT rather is disbanded by this point, at least according to the Minister and General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐸. It is disbanded, and yet you are saying the dockets must go back to 𝐾ZN. Can you just explain how you thought it would play out? And I do understand you're saying because the PKTT were already familiar with the dockets, but it is now disbanded.
Commissioners, when I wrote this, the PKTT is not disbanded. According to me, it was never disbanded.
Okay.
It was partially because it was the first phase of investigation where the dockets were brought. But they are still operating, and they were still operating whilst I was in there when there was no formal directive for us to say that now the PKTT is no more. So I was just making these recommendations that if maybe the National Commissioner then can't apportion some budget for us, then this docket, they must go back to the PKTT because they were still operating.
Because practically they were still operating.
Yeah, practically they were still operating.
Thank you.
General, so at this stage, the funding request had not been considered by General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 and it hadn't been approved by the National Commissioner. That's what you say at the top of the page on page 14. And you then further say that you could not investigate until you received the additional funding.
Commissioners, the first information note, the one which we're discussing now, it was revised because it's myself who signed it. Then later it was sent back for ratification. But the signed one, myself, I was not in the office, I was in another meeting. It was signed by Brigadier 𝐾𝐿 on my behalf. So this one is the first one where myself I've signed it, but it was never signed by the Divisional Commissioner because it was sent back from the office of the Divisional Commissioner for some ratification. We just put it here to show that actually we started this request for funding on the 23rd of June.
And then, General, you earlier in your testimony, if you look at the information note MCM3 at page 17, which would have been the initial one, and the corrected one is at page 19, MCM4. You'll recall I asked you about paragraph 2.1 in a different document. That would have been the summary of the audit findings that you provided about the background section where you say that Lieutenant General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 was the acting commissioner. This is found again at this information note, which you prepared in June 23, and then again in the revised one, which was signed by Brigadier 𝐾𝐿 on the 1st of July.
Yes, Commissioner.
And is it that at that point your team was operating under the impression that General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 was the acting National Commissioner at the time?
Commissioners, I explained earlier that in all the correspondence we wrote General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 as acting. He also brought to our attention, to my attention, that actually it was not himself that he was acting. Actually, it was General Motsepe. But in most of the information note and the reports, we wrote General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿, but not to portray or to bring to the commission that General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿 is the one who was acting. Actually, it was General Motsepe. But most of the reports, even the National Commissioner signed one of the requests for funding, where we also mentioned that it was General 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐿.
Thank you, General. And then you deal with a request, a visit and a request to take photographs of the dockets, and you were told about a case. At paragraph 38, can you summarize the events? You've set them out in a lot of detail in the statement. So if you can summarize what happened there with Brigadier 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜.
Commissioners, can I proceed with paragraph 38, reading it? or just to summarize?
Just to summarize.
Commissioners, on the 22nd of July, I think it was 2 days. It was 2 days after the proclamation, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go through this paragraph, then I will summarize it, Commissioners, with your permission. On the 15th of July, I received a call from General Mangali. He is the component head of Criminal Record and Crime Scene Management, National Office. Then he said that he received a call from General Mkhwanazi that he must avail a photographer for standby, and then he must take photos of the dockets, and then we must also furnish statement to Brigadier Kunene. Actually, let me speak. General Mangwale mentioned only about the taking of the photos. Then the following day, I communicated with Brigadier 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿𝐻 because the docket, they are lying in Brigadier 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿𝐻's floor, second floor in the strong room. Then Brigadier 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿𝐻 also confirmed that he communicated with Brigadier Kunene. So Brigadier Kunene left 𝐾ZN on Monday, and then we saw him the following day on the 16th. I think it was around 11 o'clock. It was myself. Before Brigadier Kunene came, I was with Brigadier 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿𝐻 and 𝐾𝐻 but 𝐾𝐻 got some commitment work, related commitment. Brigadier Kunene came, and then he explained the purpose of his visit. He said that General Mkhwanazi instructed him to come and take some photos, and then the strong room must be considered as a crime scene. We must condole of that strong room as a crime scene. Then I asked Brigadier Kunene, crime scene, what crime is it committed when you condole? Because we have been going through that. If it's a crime scene, we have already tampered with it. I don't understand the logic of condoning of the strong room as a crime scene. Then he said it's the instruction which he was given. Then from there, through our engagement, then I said, what is the interest of taking photos? Then he said, no, he was just given the tasking by General Mkhwanazi. And then from there, I said, let me call General 𝐮𝐫𝐵𝐻, because General 𝐮𝐵𝐵𝐻 by then was still in office. I called General 𝐮𝐵𝐵𝐻. General 𝐮𝐵𝐵𝐻 said that, let me find out from the commission. I don't know whom did he call. He said, let me find out from the commission whether photos of those dockets can be taken or whether you can also give statement. After about 10 minutes, General 𝐮𝐵𝐵𝐻 called back. The phone was on the speaker. We were the three of us. Then General 𝐮𝐵𝐻 explained that the instruction is, or the advice is, photos can be taken of those dockets provided the National Commissioner authorize. And then we must make an OB entry to that effect. From there, then I told Brigadier Kunene,
And General, when you say that General 𝐮𝐵𝐻𝐻 inquired from the commission, you mean the Madlanga Commission?
he is from Madlanga Commission.
Okay, thank you. And then thereafter,
Do we know who was contacted within the commission?
General,
Were you told, General?
Commissioners, I don't know who was called, but General 𝐮𝐵𝐻𝐻 said that he received an instruction or an advice. If dockets need to be taken photos and for us to give statement, the National Commissioner must authorize that instruction. Then Brigadier Kunene was not happy with the explanation of General 𝐮𝐵𝐻𝐻. And then from there, he said, hey, it seems now it's going to be a fight between himself and General Mkhwanazi. Then I said, you take instruction from General Mkhwana. I'm also taking instruction from the Deputy National Commissioner, General 𝐟𝐶𝐫𝐿. So let's wait. Maybe the National Commissioner will call and maybe he will authorize, because by then I learned later that General Mkhwana was with the National Commissioner in 𝐾ZN. There was a protest march there. Then Brigadier 𝐿𝐾𝐭 left. I went to my office at around 4:05. I was with Colonel Machabela, whom I met from the lift. He was greeting me. Then we went to my office. The National Commissioner called. Then he said that there's a certain investigating officer who is experiencing some resistance in the building. Then I said, who is that investigating officer? Then the National Commissioner said, no, General, we just need some photos. Then I said, General, who is the investigating officer? So when he mentioned the photos, I recall now is Brigadier 𝐾𝐭. I just reminded General, said, General, now the National Commission. I think you are mentioning Brigadier 𝐾𝐭. He is the one I had an engagement earlier with pertaining to photos. But now they saying you must give. I called General 𝐟𝐶𝐫𝐿, and then he said he inquired from Madlanga Commission that permission must be granted. You must authorize. Then the National Commissioner said, it's fine, General, I will authorize that one. But it never came to authorize that photos can be taken. So Brigadier 𝐾𝐭 photos were never taken. I even gave feedback to General Mangali.
And General, are you aware that at this point, General Mkhwanazi had opened a defeating the ends of justice case for the manner in which the dockets were taken?
I was not aware. I was not aware, Commissioners, that there was a docket opened by General Mkhwanazi.
Thank you, General. And then you then speak about the investigation that was conducted by Lieutenant General Patekile. Can you also summarize then what happened there, your interactions there with the General?
Commissioner, I was called by General Patekile, the Provincial Commissioner of Western Cape. It was on the President made the proclamation on the 13th.
It was on the 21st of July when you got the call.
21st. No, I was just adding 7 days to that proclamation of the President to get the exact date. It was on the 21st of July.
Yes.
I was called by General Patekile in the evening on Sunday, and then he said that he want to see me on Monday at the college. Then I said, pertaining to what? He said, pertaining to the 121 dockets. He's been appointed by the National Commissioner to conduct the investigation. Then he wanted to know actually what is happening with those 121, how did they come? Then I gave him the whole story, the way I put it in my statement here. And then he said, okay, we'll discuss at length tomorrow. Then I said, I will come. Then he told me that he's coming with the team of 5. Then I also told him I will come with my team, meaning Brigadier 𝐼𝐶𝐫𝐿, Colonel Mgulu and Colonel Mashili. And we went to the college. We waited for them. Then he came around 1 o'clock. He was with the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, his Deputy Crime Detection, General Makashalala, together with Brigadier Truta.
I think you pronounced it correctly, but the writing there is wrong. The X should be a Q. General Makashalala, not Makashalala.
Or not
The
X.
The X should be a Q.
Commissioner will rectify.
But you pronounced it correctly.
Thanks, Commissioner. And then they came with Brigadier Truta, the Provincial Head Legal Service. And then General Patekile explained the purpose to all of us, the 4 of us. And from there, he wanted to know actually what's happening with these 121 dockets, Then I advised him to start first with Brigadier 𝐼𝐸𝐾𝐿 because he's the one who collected the docket with Colonel 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞. Then he explained, then later it was myself. I explained exactly what transpired and the way I put it in my statement that docket were brought to General Khumalo, General Sintumula arranged the collection, came to our office, conducted inspections, the reports. I even gave him this matrix, this thick inspection. We made copies for himself, General Matrashalala, together with Brigadier Truta. And then later, I wanted to know when he said he was investigating. Then I said, General, you say you are investigating. What are you investigating, actually? Then he said, Motsepe, you know what, after this, whatever you told me, you must depose statement to me. Then we want to see whether there was no defeating the ends of justice. Then I even asked him, who's defeating here? Myself, Brigadier 𝐼𝐸𝐾𝐿, General Sintumula, General Khumalo. Then he said, no, I won't mention who's defeating. I'm going to make a report to the National Commissioner. It's up to him with my recommendation. Then if he agrees, then the recommendation, then there will be a defeating. So during that time, I don't know, actually the defeating was against you. I was never consulted later as a suspect or somebody who is involved in the defeating of dockets, of this 121 dockets. Then we finished statements on the 24th. Then I gave General particularly my statement.
And then, General, you note that on the day you deposed to the statement, you also received notification from the National Commissioner that the funding approval was denied.
Commissioners, that's true. The National Commissioner didn't approve on the 22nd. Then the file was brought to my attention on the 24th that the National Commissioner didn't approve.
What reason did the National Commissioner give for not approving the funding request?
The National Commissioner, if I can just say without reading it, he mentioned that the PKTT is already budgeted. And then what are the dockets doing here at the national office? And then the docket must go to the station of origin as agreed. Then me, I don't know where does this agreed comes from. Maybe they've discussed it before that through the disbandment. Actually, the docket must go to the station of origin as they agreed in their executive management meetings. But he wrote it in that way that docket must go back to the station of origin as agreed.
General, page 21 of MCM4, just to be fair to you.
MCM4.
MCM4, page 21. Your recollection was spot on, but just to be fair to you, you were referring to what is written there by the National Commission.
Yes, Commissioners, I was referring. Must I read it? Okay, Commissioners. The National Commissioner didn't approve. Then he cited the following reasons. We can't spend double on the same function. Political killing tax team is there already doing the functions. Why are dockets at HQ? As it was agreed that some dockets from the team be returned to station of origin.
And then, General, to complete then your team's possession of the dockets, you talk about what you hear from Major General Mogale on the 25th of August about the return of the dockets to KZN. Can you briefly address that?
Okay, thanks, Advocate. Commissioners, on the 25th of August, we were preparing ourselves to attend an Interpol conference in Cape Town. I was approached by Major General Mohale. He's one of the component head with myself at the division. He's responsible for crime investigations, the so-called general crime. Then he's presently the acting divisional commissioner, because General 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢 is acting deputy national commissioner for General Sibiya. Then he informed me that there was a virtual meeting between himself and General Mkhwanazi. And then I must make available a brigadier pertaining to the taking back the dockets to 𝐾ZN. Then I said, I don't have a brigadier. 𝐼𝐾𝐻𝐵𝐻𝑖 was on leave because Brigadier 𝐼𝐾𝐻𝐵𝐻𝑖 is the one who started the collection. Then actually he was supposed to be the one who attend when they are taken back to 𝐾ZN. Then I proposed I will give him 2 colonels, the one who were also involved with the docket. Is Colonel Mguli and Colonel Mashile. Then he said that the meeting will be tomorrow. They confirmed the meeting will be tomorrow on the 26th. Then on the 26th, the meeting did take place. And then when myself I was departing to the airport, he came to my office. Then he said, General, yes, we did attend the meeting. It's confirmed. The docket must go back to 𝐾ZN. Did you make copies of the dockets? Then I said, no, we didn't, but we were thinking of making copies, but we have never made copies, but it's not a problem. I will arrange before I leave that copies are made. I called Colonel Mguli and then inform also Colonel Mashile that they must ensure that these docket copies are taken and then to be handed over. The arrangement was they must be arranged. The arrangement was made that they must be handed to one of the PKTT commanders at the college. I understand it was Lieutenant Colonel Khumalo. So I left for Cape Town, and then whilst I was there, I keep in touch with them just to check how far are they with making the copies. They completed, and then the dockets were handed over, and then they were taken back to 𝐾ZN. Intact, the same as they were taken from crime intelligence by the Brigadier 𝐼𝐾𝐻𝐵𝐻𝑖 and General 𝐬𝐿, and they were taken back to 𝐾ZN on the 28th of August.
Now, can you just assist the Commission with this? From 28 March 2025 until the 27th of August 2025, are there entries in any of those dockets that the investigation was progressed further? In other words, there was progress from when the dockets were first taken to when they were returned to 𝐾ZN?
Commissioners, in the diaries, the entries which was done was of the inspecting team when they were inspecting, just alluding maybe like Section 205 to be obtained, witnesses, but there were no entries of investigation, as no investigation did take place.
So it was the audit, basically. The only entries were that an audit has
the one
taken
of the inspection,
place,
yes.
and these are the shortcomings that were picked up.
Yes.
But the murder cases themselves were not investigated.
Only those 2 of the one of Eastern Cape, the attempted and the murder was taken by Colonel Kenan and Mapet whilst they were in Eastern Cape. Is the only docket where they wrote their investigation, what they have done so far with that limited time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners.
And General, do you know that in that docket, the Eastern Cape one, the investigators had only gotten an opportunity to introduce themselves to the family and to the previous investigating officers?
Commissioners, I'm aware. If I can elaborate further, they even went further to, I think it's 3 stations where the investigating officers who were investigating this docket, they were killed, 3 of them. So they went to those stations. I forgot the stations, but they are mentioned in the dockets because of the information where Colonel Odendal was pursuing. We were supposed to get statement from those 3 investigators who were conversant with this murder of Namka, only to find that when they were busy with investigations, they were killed. So these 2 colonels, they went to those stations to collect the murders of those deceased investigating officers, to investigate together with this one of Namka, because they were killed because of, they do have first-hand information of who killed the deceased.
Were these the original investigators before the docket was handed over to PKTT?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Commissioner, let me rectify. The original was Colonel Odendal. He knew about these 3 investigators who were killed. So there are 3 murder cases in Eastern Cape, where now the new investigating officer, Advocate Power, was just saying to bring to the attention of the commissioners that in the docket of Namka, there's only an entry which introduced themselves to the sister of the deceased. Now I'm alluding further that even though maybe it's not written in the docket, they went as far as to those 3 stations to collect those 3 dockets, because those 3 dockets where investigating officers were killed were supposed to be investigated together with this main docket of Namka.
Maybe let me ask the question differently. The 3 investigators that were killed were not PKTT investigators?
No, they were not.
Thank you.
They were not.
General, and then now we are going to move to the last topic of your statement, and that's the leaked audit report to the Sunday World. So there you start with the call that you received from Brigadier Mate, alerting you to an article that would be published. Can you explain what happened there and your response to Brigadier Mate?
Commissioners, actually the call was made on the 16th, not the 17th. Brigadier Mate called me on the 16th. Brigadier Mate is the spokeswoman of our National Commissioner General, Masemola. She called me that a journalist by the name of Situmo from Sunday World, he needs some input pertaining to 121 dockets. Then I said to Brigadier Mate, I don't have any input because I don't report to the journalist Situmo, and then I don't see any need to input to him about this 121 dockets. And then he sensitized to me that it seems the following day, on the 17th August, which is Sunday, it seems there's a leak report of my report to them, and they're going to publish. That is why they wanted some inputs to me. Then I said that the report from myself, I didn't give the report to any newspaper or media or any journalist. I don't know what's happening. Then Sunday, Brigadier Mate called me. Then he said he even sent the article via the WhatsApp to my phone, WhatsApp. I went through it. Then I asked her, how come, what's happening here? Then he said, hey, General, I don't know. Then she asked me, who did you give this report? I said, the only person whom I gave is General 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿. I gave him not electronically, it was a printout. Then immediately I phoned General 𝐟𝐶𝐵. I said, General, I gave him the whole story. That General Brigadier Mate called me on Saturday. Then here's the newspaper clip now. Then he said, let me go and get the newspaper. So around 11, he called me. He said, yes, I see the leak, I see the newspaper. Then I said, how come that report appears in the Sunday World? Then he said, he also don't know. Then I said, you are the only person whom I gave. Did you share it with somebody else? Maybe that person is the one who leaked this in the newspaper. Then he was adamant that he never shared this report with anyone.
And then it was quiet about this leaked report for a while until you received a call from the National Commission on the 15th of September. That's at paragraph 53 of your statement. What was your interaction there with the National Commissioner?
Commissioners, on the 15th of September, I did receive a call from the National Commission inquiry about the report. I even said, our General, you know now about this report, it was most 17 August, didn't Brigadier Mate brought it to your attention? Because initially, when we were engaging with Mate about, I even asked her, didn't you bring this to the attention of the National Commissioner? She said, I did send the National Commissioner, but he never responded because maybe he was busy. That is why he never gave me the response to inquire further from you. And then the National Commissioner asked me about this report. Then I explained to him, I'm aware I was brought to this leak by Brigadier Mate on the 16th of August. It's already a month now. Then the National Commissioner said that, do I have a report with me? Then I said, yes, General, I will check. I think I still have that report. Then on the 16th, I was attending a management meeting which was chaired by General 𝐬𝐻𝐿 when I received the call from the National Commissioner. He was waiting for that report. I explained to the National Commissioner that I've tasked my secretaries just to check in the system so that we can bring. But they said that it seems when they were typing, they didn't save it. Then I said, okay, I will excuse myself from this meeting and go and look for that report in my office on the table. Then whilst we were engaging with the National Commissioner, he said that, am I aware that now I'm the star witness that General 𝐶𝐵 leaked the report? Then I said, General, I'm not the star witness of the leakage. I'm the witness that I gave General 𝐶𝐵 this report. He is the only person. I gave him in a print form. I didn't send it electronically. Then before I left, excusing myself, I told General 𝐬𝐻𝐿. Then she said that they were discussing this matter a previous week they were in Cape Town. Actually, she also advised the National Commissioner that they must conduct an investigation on how did this report leak into the Sunday World.
So you're saying you did not type the report yourself?
I couldn't get that, Commissioner.
You are saying you did not type the report yourself?
No, it was not typed.
Your PA typed it?
Yes, my secretary.
So actually then it was not just you and General 𝐶𝐵 who had access to the report. It was you, your PA, and General 𝐶𝐵.
Yes, Commissioners. Maybe if I can explain my PA. When we were busy typing this report, the one which I put that I dispute what General Mkhwanazi said, my PA sent it to the office of General 𝐶𝐵, the secretary there, because we were busy with this report. Then I called my office, just sent it to General 𝐶𝐵's office. Then that secretary that side put only infused that paragraph which said that I dispute what General Mkhwanazi was saying. So now from there, I got the copy, I gave the copy to General 𝐶𝐵. So when a National Commissioner was requesting a copy, that's the copy which I was saving. And then from that meeting from General 𝐬𝐻𝐿, I went to the National Commissioner, then I gave him that copy. So what Commissioner is asking is true. The person who typed, it was electronic, but it was printed copy to General 𝐶𝐵, and the other copy, I did have another copy.
Thank you, General.
So in fact, General, your PA and General Sibiya's PA had access electronically to this report that ends up with the newspaper.
Yes, but I asked them about the leakage. They were also amazed. They said, General, they can investigate, they can take our gadget. Mine also, I'm saying, can be taken. It can show that I didn't send the report to the Sunday World.
Thank you, General.
So any one of the four of you could have
Yes, could have.
It's actually any one of the three, because you firmly say it's not you. So it's either the two PAs or General Sibiya. If we accept you saying you did not.
The general
Yes,
has already
I didn't.
agreed. The general has already agreed to the
No,
possibility of any one of the four of you.
No, Commissioner, but just to affirm or confirm that I didn't leak.
Thank you,
That one is
General.
for sure.
Thank you, Commissioners. And then at paragraph 56, you confirmed that you did hand over the physical copy that you had to the National Commissioner.
Yes, I did give to the National Commissioner, and then the Commissioner wanted to know why is it not signed. Then I said it was just a draft, sort of executive summary I was discussing with General Sibiya, so that they must give me further directive to that one.
And then to conclude, General, in paragraph 57, you clarify your position as regards to the 121 dockets. Do you want to read that into the record?
Commissioners, yes, I concluded by saying the docket were not gathering dust, and by saying that an audit was conducted and the dockets would have been investigated once funding was approved. I had no involvement in the disbandment of the PKTT, nor did I have any involvement in the handing over process. Once the dockets were under me, I, of my own accord, tasked my team to conduct an audit, and if funding had been approved, the dockets would have been investigated.
Thank you, General. Unless there's anything else you'd like to say, that concludes your testimony.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Commissioners.